One time. One time. One time, two. Super laka. Super laka. I get a radio feeling from the lava lamp sun. Warm cotton jacket with the coochie bomb. Take a far-flung vista and the wine in your eyes. Till you fall in the ponytails, gaze at the sky. Super like a summer, don't you think so? Super like a summer from the get-go. Don't forget about the resto. Jump, jump, jump until you let go. One time, two, take your body back. One time, two, sail offshore. One time, two, take your body back. One time, two, touch me at the encore. Stand in your tippy toes, running to the waterline. It's just the heat on your tummy and the oil for the shine. Super like a summer, don't you think so? Super like a summer from the get-go. Don't forget about the pesto. Jump, jump, jump until you let go. One time, two, take your body back. One time, two, sail offshore. One time, two, take your body back. One time, meet you at the encore. Take your body back.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Center Stage.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gino's Spot on Tuesday, normal time, 6:30, and it's been a rough 2 weeks for the Center Stage people. Let me tell you what, we've had the shows, and Old Grey, our songs that rocked our world. Songs that rocked our world have been doing so nicely, and we're really appreciative of all the support that's come our way for the show. Our first big Center Stage show after, I don't know, 3 odd years. So fantastic to be back, and full audiences. The crowds have been great. We went to East London now recently as well. Of course, we did the run at Old Grey, first Hellenic. Hellenic was fantastic. Old Grey as well. Great audiences. And by the time we got to East London, it was just cooking. So thank you to the East London audiences that have come out to see our show. We love it. We are going to try and get back there as well, because there's been a demand for another show or two. So we'll try and get out to East London as well. Just got to find the dates to do it. Absolutely fantastic run. Such a lovely show as well. Lots of different things. Tara Jane and Tuba Mieki, of course, have been absolutely phenomenal. And Wayne Callis has been Wayne Callis, of course. He's been incredible too. Nice theatrical show as well. It's been a different kind of show for Center Stage. With of course Dylan Duplessis, our young guitar player. Just put that picture back on. I want to see the young Dylan Duplessis there as well, and Kanya Matomela as well as on bass there, playing at in this picture. He's actually playing congas. He's a multi-instrumentalist, Tiago Vital, and it's been fantastic fun. I tell you, we've had an absolute joy with it, and we are coming back in December to PE, to Old Grey, on the 16th and 17th. So don't forget to book your tickets, because the tickets are already selling. and it's not even the end of November yet. So make sure that you get your tables in there, because otherwise you're going to be left high and dry. And high and dry is not where we got our guest today as well, and because we got all to do with water as well. Of course, one other thing I've got must remember as well is that Fitch and Leeds and Sovereign have been sponsoring our live shows, which has been phenomenal to get local companies behind the musicians who've been sitting in the doldrums for 3 years. So getting us up and going again. Thank you so much to Sovereign, the chicken, and of course Fitch and Leeds, which I happen to have a little bit of that as well. And not to forget our sponsors here tonight, Spa, always have been sponsoring our Gino spot and Spa up at the top here as well, have been sponsoring our Gino spot for about 2 years now. So fantastic to have them, and great that we can do this, a little community TV station for you guys. And please tell me where you're watching from, what you're doing, where are you, what are you up to? Let me know what you're doing. Book, yes, that's right. Book for the Songs That Rocked Our World with Wendy Tompkins Thompson. Wendy does our tickets for us, and she's great. She will organize you lovely seats if there are any left. And a book with her, that's her number right there, so you can give her a buzz and speak to her. And she's very nice indeed. Of course, like I said, thank you to Spa, thank you to Amobia for our internet as well. Nicola, I believe she's been running around doing all sorts of things as well. I've been watching the Facebook. Always busy, that lady, Nicola Smith from Amobia. And tonight, of course, as you know, is firing on all, well, you don't know yet, but it's firing on all cylinders. It's been advertised as such. There we go. Firing on all cylinders with Fires van Vuuren, because I've got two guests in the studio, but one guest is more of a host, indeed. Doing our firing on all cylinders, of course, we get friends of Mike van Vuuren coming in and chatting not only about sport, but about fishing and all sorts. So we're going to have a great evening tonight. We have Chad Alcock on live tonight, and you can ask him anything as well, anything, sexual question, whatever you want, it's fine. Now, we'll see what they come up with, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gino's Spot. I'm going to sing you a song, sing it in tonight, and before we get to what's going on Thursday as well. And welcome. Tell me where you're watching from, what you're drinking, and what you're doing. Anything you want to know? Oh, I'm a font of knowledge. Well, my friend, the time has come to raise the roof and have some fun. Hi, Gino, says Carol Jacobs, all the way from Miss London. That's the light. Everybody sing, everybody dance. Lose yourself in wild romance. We're going to party. Come on and fiesta forever. That's Fat Cat's Catering when she remembers to bring our food. Yes, Grace is always doing all sorts of stuff. She's so busy this week, I know. Oh, Fat Cat's Catering. All right, thank you to Grace for some yummy food. Camilla Ellis is watching too. I'm sure you're exhausted. That's right, I am a little bit, but I had good stuff. The parties, it won't slow down. Remember Wendy Tompkins has got the number there for you to phone. Lizette Rose Howell says, Gino, you're off with lots of K's. That's not. Come join our party, see how it runs. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Lovely to have you all here tonight. That's right. And we're gonna definitely have a good time tonight. Dean Allen, next Thursday. Don't forget to put it in your diary, or at least click on it and set a reminder for Dean Allen. Dean Allen's been coming doing Frontierland with Dean Allen, and we have episode 3 on Thursday. That's now the 24th, Thursday at 6:30, the normal time, with Wayne Bolton. Wayne Bolton is an environmental sports activist, as you can read on the screen. environmental sports activist. So I'm keen to hear what that's all about as well. I think he does all sorts of stuff for charities and environmental causes. So please have a listen to him. And of course, Dean in his usual crazy way is dealing with all sorts. That man's got so much energy. I don't know. He puts me to shame, I think. Stuart Potito, how's it from the States? How's it from the United States of America? Indeed. I always forget whereabouts it is. Stuart, let me know. But I like the flag there. Like that flag. I see DPI is watching as well. Lovely to see you there, DPI. And and Lizette. Lizette, lovely to have you on board as well. Nice. And Camilla, I see that Camilla from the Warmer Library represented here today. Excellent. We like a bit of Warmer. I've been riding around with Warmer, and of course, next week on Tuesday, don't forget as well, I've got Wayne Pfeiffer next week, Tuesday. So we're talking about cycling. I've started cycling as well, which is a lekker jol. Yes, like I've been riding around Marine Drive today, and it was a long ride for me, which only my second ride. Francois Kreiling sending good mind from Panama. Wow, from Panama. Excellent. On the Panama Canal, Francois is chilling on the Panama Canal. Lovely to have you on board as well from all over the world. Of course, we've got lots of expats on as well. And we're going to be talking a bit of rugby and a bit of fishing tonight. So let me not waste too much time because we're getting our two guests and our guest and our host on tonight. Please welcome Mr. Chad Alcock and Fires van Vuuren.
Welcome to the show. Now it's your time to shine. We're gonna have a lekker chat tonight. Another good time.
Me too, do off the cuff.
Oh, welcome, Chad and Fires. Of course, always.
Welcome,
I'm
man.
going to get in
Fires,
between
my
you as well.
Nice to see you, Chad.
Same.
Nice to see you playing hooker tonight.
Lekker, I'm a haker. Ek is nou haker
Nobody
vanaand.
enjoys that, eh?
Yes, sir.
You've got some stuff there?
Fantastic. We've got a rugby theme going on here. We've got our dops, our drinks.
Cheers, old
Cheers to everybody online as well.
Cheers.
Lovely to have you, Stuart. I hope you got a drink as well. And Francois, all the way in Panama. I like that day. It's
unbelievable.
Panama.
They're coming from all sides.
Yeah, put it in the comments. What are you doing in Panama there, Francois? What kind of job are you doing there? Are you directing the ships through, or are you pulling the lever for the locks? You know, I don't know what you do in Panama. Maybe you register ships. Because every single ship I see seems to be
Most
registered.
of them are Panamanian.
Yeah, and half of them are sitting here in our bay bunkering.
Correct.
Which we don't want them here. Francois, don't send those bastards here. We've got of course Lloyd Edwards as well. He actually messaged me. Yeah, Reggie Charters. He messaged me a little while ago, and I want a bit of a sea story as well. We want to find out what's happening there with what's the latest with what's happening. He's also a bit of an environmental maniac. But Chad, fantastic to have you on.
No, lovely to be here. I'm so glad to be here. I'm Big P boy, so this is what we're all about. Eh?
Alex boy.
I'm an Alex boy. Yeah.
The Alex. Carl Balmester, the Alex.
Yes, the Alex. The Alex. You're going to say the Grey as well. So you
Correct.
Yeah, we could play. Yeah, we had good sportsmen there.
Yeah,
Carl Balmester, I watched him as a small boy. He was fantastic.
Well, the Kiwis as well. Also, there.
Oh, the Kiwis, they could play anything.
Yeah.
Just give them a ball, give them a bat, and they're brilliant sportsmen.
Absolutely.
You know, there was a guy there, among many other guys, but one guy who sticks out for me is, and sadly he was killed in a car accident.
Yeah.
I think his name was Rhys Jones.
No, before my time.
Yeah,
I think
He
it
was
was.
in the mid-70s perhaps.
He's in a different
I wasn't
league.
born at Flyers.
You know?
But for what it's worth, he was a
Yeah.
fantastic fast bowler.
Wow.
He had an action very similar to Peter Pollock. And
Okay.
you know, the sad reality is one wonders how far he would have gone.
If he didn't pass on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah,
He was
yeah.
a fantastic cricketer. And I mean, great sportsmen that come from there.
Yeah.
Including you. It's lovely to be with you.
No, Fires, thanks. I mean, Fires, I remember sitting in the stand watching you play cricket. Yo, we used to love it. I mean, those were the days.
I was
Good
there.
memory.
Yeah.
But I think we were similar age. You're slightly younger than me, I think. I was 88 matric, so
Yeah, I was 91.
91
So it's a similar age.
very similar, you know. But we were watching you there, smacking
Fires,
it
we
out.
loved it.
But you know, but
Yeah.
we touched on a story earlier with Chad.
Yes.
And I got to know his dad in about 1980. Kenny Watson and I developed had a nice relationship with his dad.
Yeah.
We used to train in the winter at Benny Hoss's gym in Newton Park. And
What if you didn't see my brother and I underneath the thing my dad used to train, and we used to sit under there, very good children.
my mate, I think he might have been in Baghdad then.
Okay.
No, you would have been about 7 or 8, I
Yeah.
would think. But you might well have been. But
could
I
have
mean, we developed this lovely relationship with your dad, and that's how I got to know him. And I'm talking about 80, 81, 82.
Yes.
Wow.
Up in Newton Park, we used to go 3 times a week. And
You were
his dad
young
was
then.
always there.
Yeah, I was young then. I'm not young anymore. But,
I would assume his dad would be probably 10, 12 years older than us, but he was an absolute machine, much like you in your playing
remember,
days.
my dad was Mr. EP for 7 years in a row.
Yeah,
Bodybuilder. Yeah.
Bodybuilder. Because
Bodybuilder,
that Benny Osher's, I mean, my dad used to go to Benny Osher's too.
He was a legend, Benny Orchard.
And it used to be in Main Street, I think, originally. I don't know if any of you
Yeah.
remember that are online now, if any of you are old enough to remember, you know. But Benny Osher's, I remember that, and it was a time when there weren't gyms all over the
No.
place.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
I mean, this was in a house, a renovated house.
Really?
But sadly, as you can see, I mean, we obviously didn't pay our subs and taken all the muscles away.
He didn't pay the subs, so he took the muscles
But
back.
that's where we got to know his dad, and at that time, I developed this interest in fishing.
Okay.
And I started talking to your dad. I mean, he was a very keen fisherman.
Very keen.
Yeah.
And that's how the relationship developed. And in later years, he built a couple of rods for me.
Gee,
And
that's
one I still have. And I mean, I call it my yellowtail slayer. We had very good times at
Yeah.
Balumpo Point with a rod your dad built for me.
Those are good times at Balumpo. They must have been the wild times because there was
No,
nothing
absolutely.
there.
Where?
In the early 90s.
Balumpo Point is a place in the Transkei.
Oh, wow.
You know, I love South Africa and I love Port Elizabeth, and so Transkei is one of the most beautiful. What's called the Wild Coast.
Yes,
It's one of
of
the most
course.
beautiful areas that we have, and there's so little there. There's just a couple of people that live in huts and stuff like that. Otherwise, the coast is just pristine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
very
yeah,
much.
and Fires was lucky enough to see it. It really, really was. But still,
Yeah.
to this day, if you go to that area, it's fantastic.
Lovely area.
Really, really nice.
If-
Also, you
if
can
I
get
rem-
eaten by a shark in Port St. John's if you want to as well, I think.
Well, Zambezi shark, yeah.
Yo.
We're going to touch on that tonight.
Yeah.
Because the shark issue, as you well know, I mean, when we had Alan Lamb on,
Yeah.
we had Bruce Noble on, and
Yeah.
as fascinated as Lammy was about the sharks, I'm equally fascinated
Yeah.
by what's going on at the moment. And yeah, he's a man, a great seaman,
Yeah.
waterman. So
Yeah.
maybe he has a theory.
Here we go. And let's. We're gonna look at some comments now, just now as well. But I see the comments are flying in here at the moment. I see Francois having a good laugh. We need to find out what you do there, Francois. There we go. He's just sending us
Has
good
he-
vibes,
has he
but he
given
won't.
you a-
He's not telling us what he's doing there. Fires you biscuit. How he's quite.
Jumbo, how are you, my boy?
Craig Edmondson. It's Uncle Jumbo. Is that?
Jumbo,
his-
yeah, no, it's good lad.
You Paige, how's it
Paige.
you? I hope you're feeling well, man.
Well,
Last
Paige.
time you was on, he wasn't feeling lekker. Has your stomach improved there? I think you went straight to the toilet after you went. It was on our show.
No, shame he was all right by the next day. Hello, Pagey.
Are we good?
And
We good,
Jumbo.
you? Absolutely. How's it?
Now, what does this guy do in Panama?
Yes, yeah, I wanted to find out.
Oh, Redders.
Neil Radford. You look old.
Thanks, Shredders. I try and take the tablets in my left hand.
Well, I see I see a lot of grey hair in those. That picture there, Neil.
That was a good lad, Redders.
Oh man! But so Alex, when in junior schools.
No, so I went to Herbert Pre-Primary School.
Okay, another one. Gary was Herbert Hurd.
Ah, it's a great school.
A lot of Alex Herbert Hurd.
That's probably because we stayed in the area, you know, Newton
okay,
Park.
Newton Park,
Yeah.
okay.
And then I went to Alexander Road High, which I loved.
Yeah.
I just, you know, it's not right, but I only concentrated on sport.
Okay.
That's all I did. I did very little schoolwork. But, I mean, that's what I loved.
In fact, if I may just interject here, just for the guys who may not know, the younger crowd like Pagey and Redders,
Yeah.
Chaddy played rugby for South Africa. He was a Springbok in 1998, correct?
1998,
Is that right?
yeah.
Went on the tour of the European tour, yeah?
Well, the UK tour, yeah.
The UK tour.
Yeah.
He
And,
scored some tries there too.
That's my game,
You
man.
know,
Scoring
that's-
tries, that's my
yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Remember?
Played for the Sharks, the Cats, North Harbour, and I know why I went there. This is a yellowtail, I think, somewhere around those. What is that? In fact, am I not
That-
right in saying the world record comes from
It does
there?
come from there, yes.
Yeah.
yes, yes.
So
Well,
that obviously had something to do with
Something to do, the
fishing.
fishing's great in New Zealand.
Okay, it's great.
That's what I like.
You're a man after my own heart, my boy.
That's why I stayed in Port Elizabeth.
Yeah.
But
That's
you-
why I didn't leave
Well,
here.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, Pagey and Redders, now do you understand why we stay in Port Elizabeth? He's like always saying, come to Joburg, great place. Fuck, man, it's a long cost from Joburg to Kiwi.
But no, I'm interested in the rugby story. Let's do the rugby story before we get to the fishing. I mean, obviously, was that your first love, or was that your...
Yeah, my family loved sport. My mother loved sport. My dad loved sport. My dad loved rugby. He was a good rugby player. My mom was a good sportsman.
Okay.
And so a lot of emphasis in our family was on sport.
Okay.
So, you know, that just sport was like first, which nowadays it should be education and sport.
Yeah,
so I'm not trying to tell any youngsters that, but for our family, it was all sport.
Correct.
All four, we have 4 kids. So I'm a twin. So it was lovely. So you come to your under 9 days and you scrum off laugh is 2 Alcocks. You know, under 10, going under 11, under 13.
Is that Lando?
Lando, yeah.
Lando the kicker.
Lando was the kicker.
Okay.
Left, right, doesn't matter.
Really?
Very talented sportsman. I had the more sort of, he was excellent at sport, but I had that like drive, you know. He'll just kick it over left, it's a good kick.
Yeah.
You know. So
chasing.
yeah, I'd be chasing. So you know, so we played all the sport, junior school, and really our teams were good. The Hoffmans were with us, so all our guys growing up with us, the Rion Martins, and so we had this great sort of, and then those guys went from Herbert Hurd, we went to Alex together. Okay. So we had these good cricket sides, these good soccer sides from junior school, and then we went into Alexander Road High. Yeah. We had these top sides, which is great. Taking on the likes of Grey as a co-ed school is not easy.
No.
But we took them on in cricket, in rugby they were better than us, but we didn't disgrace ourselves.
Yeah.
So then we went all the way through. We played, you know, playing rugby, soccer, cricket, tennis. Didn't matter what it was. We just loved sport. You know, so and then we eventually got to where, you know, we were competing with the Framesbys, the Andrew Robbies, you know, the good Afrikaans schools. You know how good those guys were at rugby. I mean, they've got that lineage.
So rugby and athletic.
Yeah, so you know, that's what we want. You know, that I want that today. I want those schools to play against schools and do well. So then we came to matric when you start getting your Craven weeks and stuff like that. And I must say that's super important if you want to get further in rugby. Unfortunately, Fires knows if you make a Craven week side, it makes it so much easier to actually get scouted.
Sure.
Yes.
And that's what you were talking about the cricket earlier.
Yeah.
About the difficulties. Yeah. So, you know, I knew I wanted to, so I'll go back to standard 6.
Yeah, okay.
My teacher was Mrs. Allen. It's quite a good story. And
Was she nice?
No. No. But she was a nice lady.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So let's not be nasty.
Yeah.
No.
So
I wonder why you remembered it.
I remember because of this. My brother and I always were talking together about sport, and you know, we were always in the front of the class. Alcock.
Yes, of course.
GC, you know, the little guys weren't
first one for the oral.
We weren't the best behaved at school in the classes and stuff like that. We wanted to go out and play sport.
Yes.
Touch rugby, junior co-ed, you know, phys ed and stuff like that. So she had enough of my brother now, and she pointed at me. She says, what are you going to do when you grow up? Because you don't do anything in class. So I said to her, ma'am, I'm going to be a professional rugby player. Yeah. And she looked at me and she says, a professional rugby player? Well, what are you going to earn? Because remember, you know, there was no professional rugby player. So I said, I'm going to be a professional rugby player and I'll earn a lot of money. I was in standard 6. and my very first pay packet, when I did become, I actually went and I said, that's what I'm earning.
Did you go and show Mrs. Allen?
Because she had been very derogatory to you know, I'm not a guy that likes to say what you, but it was quite a bit of money. Yeah. So, and I've had quite a long career, which I'm very, very fortunate about.
Yeah, sure.
So that was sort of the thing that I said to myself. I put that goal there. Yeah. That I must be, and every game I played, it wasn't, if I did well, I always said to myself, I could have played better.
Yeah.
I could have played better. Even if you scored 3 tries, you know, I could have played better. Yeah. So then eventually I got into matric, and you know the story about Craven Week.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, with your blessing, can I tell the story?
Yeah.
Please do.
Well, for what it's worth, we were in the throes of moving from Port Elizabeth to East London. And during that period of looking for housing and so on, or looking for a house, we stayed at the Holiday Inn. And it happened to coincide with the 1991 Craven Week. Yeah. And my wife and I came downstairs at the Holiday Inn, and Hugh Bladen, Gavin Kelly, and Morne du Plessis were sitting there. Yeah. So obviously knowing Gavin, he invited us over, and we met Hugh Bladen and Morne du Plessis for the first time. and they were talking about this guy.
Okay.
So you take over the story now, if you don't mind.
No, not at all, Fires. So what had actually happened is, Gino, we'd had a really good season at Alexander at High. We had beaten Framesby, beaten Andrew Rugby. I mean, these are two great schools. You know, for Alexander Road High to beat them, that's something.
The 47 notes at Framesby.
Yeah.
When you play them, you play 47
Well, I
notes.
thought it's 44 according to Charlie's Throne.
Well,
a lot
we
more in those
can
days.
chat about that later. I've got a good,
Okay.
And so we went to the first trials, and I was in, they put me in the east side, but I was, you know, the word was out that I was one of the better scrum offs in the province, you know, so it was a little bit unfair.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we played the first trial, and the people all said to me, "Yes, you had a great game. I had a good game." Unfortunately, my twin brother broke his arm that day at Flav, so that was a terrible thing.
Yes,
so his chances are gone.
Okay.
So basically, they kicked me. I call it kicked me out of the trials because they did.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't going to play again.
Yeah.
And then I went to school with Adriano Novello. Now his father owned Mamma
Italiano.
Onions. Yes,
Yes, of
the
course.
proper Italian.
Fantastic.
Yes.
And this man had gone through from sub A to matric with us, and he loved the way we played rugby.
Yeah.
He loved it. And so to cut a long story short, some of the EP selectors went and had a supper in, I can't remember if it was EP selectors or the coach. It's something like
something
that.
like
But
that,
yeah.
I was, it's 30 years ago. Guys.
Yeah.
So Mr. Novello says they come, they sit at the table, and they had the EP badge on.
Yes.
And they said to him, and he said, oh, rugby, have some wine.
Good,
Yeah. And he says to them, so who do you, what? And he says, no, we're like, we're going to do the Craven Week this year. So again, I'm not quite sure if it was the coach or the selectors. So he said to them, out. It's a strange situation, and it's a true. He said, out.
Yeah.
So they were like encouraged. They said, but we want to eat supper.
What's wrong with you?
And he said to them straight, he said to him, listen, you just let the best scrum off, and whether I was the best scrum off or I wasn't, it can be proven in what happened later.
Sure.
Yeah.
So they said, you just let the best scrum off out of the trials. So you're not allowed to, and they like calmed him down. They said, okay, listen, how about we try and have a look. We can't promise anything, but we try and get this guy to have another go.
Another go.
Yeah. And that's all I needed
To save their meal.
To save their meal.
Yeah.
They probably got it for free after
It's
that.
a pasta, you know. It's amazing. The power of pasta.
Yeah.
There you go.
Power of pasta, and he could cook, guys. His pizzas, his pastas, they just over the years it was fantastic.
Absolutely.
And so I got my opportunity, Gino Fires. I went from the E side, I went straight into the B side, and then we played another side, and then it was B against A in the last game.
Yeah.
And I managed to put some good game time in, score a couple of tries, and then I managed to become the number 1 spot in Craven Week.
But wasn't it after you crunched the number 1 oak?
I didn't want to say that, but yes, that was
the final
I
trial.
took my opposition out.
But the story as I recall it, effectively, and what you're essentially saying is
I was out.
you weren't in the mix,
At all.
and you ended up at the end of that Craven Week representing SA schools.
And I didn't just represent it, I was the number 1 scrum off. So, and funny enough,
It's a
the number 2
fantastic-
scrum off was Smiley, which was
Oh,
Vanna Smith.
Okay.
So
Vanna Swanepoel.
Vanna Swanepoel.
Yes, correct.
Who's good friends with Rassie Erasmus, by the way.
Okay, really.
Okay.
And Russ-
Let's not go there.
Well,
I don't want to get a ban.
Yeah, so you know, so there you had 2 scrum offs from that era that made Springboks. Vanna obviously playing much more games than me, but really it's unusual.
But isn't that amazing? It's an amazing story. I mean, to think that he was out there here in this province and
just,
ended up playing for SA schools. And I mean, that's a story. I actually get goosebumps.
Yeah.
And I've never forgotten you, Bladen, talking about that. And in fact, the night I think we sat with him was just after the SA school side had been chosen. And that was the big story.
Sure.
The fact that you had been bunted.
Yeah.
You clawed your way back in.
Yeah.
Like a prawn, and, or you got invited back in and ended up being the number 1 scrum off at the Craven,
And then-
which is a fantastic achievement. Well done.
No, thanks.
On from SA schools into Springboks.
Yes.
I mean,
So
that-
it was a bit of a road. Like I said to you, it's
Yeah.
typical to how I've got to make it harder for
EP
myself.
first, or what?
Yeah, so I went and started playing for, first of all, for UPE. I played a couple of games,
Okay.
under 20.
All right.
Then I went straight from UPE to Sid Lipsrud,
Yes, what a lovely man, eh?
legend of Crusaders
great
sport.
guy.
Wow, okay.
Then they invited me to the under 20s there. So from under 20s, then I went into the played. Funny enough, Richard Catt was the scrum off of
Yes.
very good scrum off of Crusaders.
So Michael Katz.
Really?
Michael Catt's brother.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And
I was
so
thinking Jonah Lomu.
I wanted to say that, but and funny enough, I played
Such
against.
a good fly-up as well.
Yeah, he was a good player. I played against Jonah Loma in the '96 when the All Blacks came here, and then also I went to play the seven-a-side game. That was terrible with Jonah Loma because now you've got only 7 guys with so much space.
Yeah.
Hey, no,
Yeah.
you got to tackle
But
that up.
did
Yeah.
you not play with him at North Harbour?
No, Jonah was finished then. Eh?
Oh, was he?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He wasn't. You know, his last couple of years, he wasn't in good health, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And he was such a big, strong man. You know,
Yeah.
and he was a legend of New Zealand sport and always will
Sure.
be.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so then I started playing sailors, and again, it's a luck
Yeah.
how I became to play EP.
Yeah.
And to someone's detriment, which I'll explain, and he's a lovely guy, Davy Human.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, also a legend of that era
Yeah.
that unfortunately had to play behind Garth Wright.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was too good.
Remember Don
Yes.
Newman very well.
Yeah.
Garth is brilliant. I mean,
Yeah, so basically what happened is they put me into we played a lot of games at Crusaders, won the club champs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which in those days, remember Dispatch, club champs, that was massive. So for Sailors to beat Dispatch.
Donnie there? No, he'd finished.
No,
early,
yeah, he's the best player
Vuuren.
ever. He's the best player
Yeah.
that ever this area created, Donny Cameron. He's a legend. And then they chose me for EPB. I'd been having a really good season, so it was sort of, and I thought if I could just get a chance,
Now, how old were you?
22,
22.
22, 2023.
And you hadn't played for EP yet?
No.
Okay, so you're in the B side.
In the B side.
Yeah.
How's the story? So I'm lucky enough that game I cook. I take a Free State B side apart. So it's one of those things where everything, if you chip the ball, it bounces into the hands. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
how it is. That night, the EP was playing also. Okay, so or it was the next day. It could have been the next day. So Richard was playing, and guess what? He injures his ankle.
Oy.
Richard Catt.
Richard Catt,
Richard Catt,
a good player.
Yeah, very good.
Very good player from Grey High School, and from being not in the side at all. I get invited to the practice,
Yeah.
but they put me into the side
Yeah.
above the poor old Davy Human,
Okay.
who is he was an excellent.
Yeah.
And Davy sat behind me for almost 100 games.
Sure.
How many games did you end up playing for EP?
About 190. So it's quite a lot. It's quite a number.
90.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a lot of. Your body must be
For Eastern
finished.
Province.
How's this, Gino? I played all those games. Then I played Super 12. I played 48.
Yeah.
And then I played a couple of games for the Springboks.
Super 12 of the Cats.
Cats and Sharks. I played
Sharks,
for both of them.
Sharks and Cats,
Yeah,
okay.
I played.
Was there a difference there?
There was there's always a story behind my career.
Yeah.
I don't know how I do it, but I'm able to just get into the wilderness, then I come back.
Okay.
And so I played, and then I played a season, obviously, for North Harbour, which Fires knows about.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I know why you went there, but anyway.
Yeah.
carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how it is. So I played 2 seasons for the Sharks,
Okay.
and then it's a long story why I got left out, but I wasn't prepared to take one of the rugby players' nonsense. He was, and I don't want to get into the
Yeah,
politics,
yeah.
and I was told, and I was the number 1 scrum off them, so they left me out.
Oh.
Yeah, they told me I'm in the, and it's financially and everything, your career is, that's where you want to play.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then I got left out, but then Rassie Erasmus, I knew him very, very well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Van Swanepoel, I knew very well. Listen to this.
Yeah.
This is how my career goes. Van Swanepoel breaks his jaw. Okay?
Where was he playing?
At Cats.
Cats. Oh,
4 days.
wow.
I'm in the wilderness.
Yeah.
So I'm not playing. I'm done. I'm going to have to wait for another season to get a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can play for EP, but remember
Yeah.
that's just B side.
Sure.
And Rassie phones me. He was the captain of, and he says, "Listen, do you want to come up to the Cats?" I said,
Bring your first stop.
well, of course I do. When he says, "I knew you would." Flight was booked, and I left that night.
No ways. So I mean,
It's amazing.
Do you think that's? But do you think that's Rassie as well? Because he's developed.
What did he break Vanner's jaw?
No. No, but you know, you knew what was going on politically down there, maybe. So that's the kind of person that he is.
He's a
Great
street.
question.
You
Yeah,
know,
Rassie Erasmus, let's be honest, guys. He's a great mind.
Yeah.
He's a great rugby player.
Yeah.
He's a great coach.
Yeah.
I just think that stick to coaching at the moment.
Yeah.
And you're going to become a great.
Yeah.
Sure.
But if you're going to do what you're doing now
Yeah.
and create a political situation, why
Yeah.
do it when you're already there?
Sure.
To me, it doesn't make sense. But anyway, that's a...
But maybe he knew about that story. So I'm saying politically aware, kind of in that
Yeah,
way. You know.
so it's such a funny thing.
You heard the story, yeah. They
No,
phoned you.
Well, how he knew me well is we played in the army. We played combined forces together.
Okay.
So in the army, your top sides in those days, most people won't know because they didn't go to the army.
I skipped it.
So they basically in the army they basically headhunted you.
Okay.
Where I went North America Command, we did nothing. I'll say that honestly, we did nothing but play sport.
Okay.
I did nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and we had perks like you can't believe. I mean, they really treated us like kings.
Yeah.
So then, so I played for you get your Wehrmacht, your top side.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we played there, and then you mixed police and the army together.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I played that, and then Rassie and I were in the same side. So that's how I got to know Rassie
Wow.
pretty well. Excellent rugby player.
Sure.
But is it not to, or why? I mean, if you look at the Bulls
Yeah.
in the army days,
They were the best.
pre-94, I think the pick of the bunch went there.
Yeah. Okay.
Free State got the second best.
Yeah.
And that's why.
Well,
Well, if you got all those English acts, so they're all over for the border, the
There
border
wasn't-
acts, the Queenstown acts,
Let's
the
speak-
Grahamstown acts.
There wasn't an army base
Yeah.
in Joburg or in Port Elizabeth.
but think
Or
about
in
this.
Durban, for
Where
that
where
matter.
we got headhunted, I call it headhunted because the army called up in for that side. You only could take 30 people.
Yeah.
We were 63 Cravenweed people.
Yes,
Cravenweed
yeah,
players.
okay, wow.
So you had the cream and the crop. So if you weren't really good, you didn't play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so that and it was top class rugby. And then I went to, the stories. So I was in the wilderness. Then I went to the Cats,
Yeah.
and the coach was Laurie Mains. So I flew up on the Tuesday. The first game is Western Province. It's the biggest game, Western Province
Yeah.
Cats.
Jeez, like-
So I said, it's cool. I'll be on the bench. I'll get time to learn the
Ah,
moves.
stop.
But this is exactly. So I get there and they say to me, okay, no, you must start training at scrum off. So I'm like, why? Jimmy Powell, who was also another and I felt
remember
sorry
Jimmy
for him.
Powell,
I went, why they make me? I don't know move. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
But I'm experienced.
Okay.
But how long had you been out of it for now?
No, just still playing.
Yeah,
but
still playing,
I went. I'd been at the
From
Sharks
Sharks.
for pre-season.
Yeah, but how long? Okay, so
So
you
those
had
2
a
months.
season.
So
Okay,
I was
so
fit as
Yeah,
so there's no problem.
effectively you've been out of it for 2 months.
So basically, no. So I trained those 2 months with the Sharks to get into
Okay.
that squad was 30.
Yeah.
Then I got left out of
Left
that
out
squad
of it,
because
yes.
of something that I said that I wasn't
Yeah.
happy with a
Yeah.
big Sharks plan. I wasn't going to keep quiet.
Sure.
Which, and then they
Okay.
sent me, they announced the squad and I wasn't in it, and I went, it is what it is. And that's when Vanner broke his jaw. So I get to practice, they fly me up, they put me up in a lacquer hotel, it's awesome, it's lacquer. And I'm sitting there and I'm putting the ball in, I'm learning all the match, and I'm playing with Louis Kuhn, and I'm going, so that's the Tuesday. But I practiced the whole practice. I'm going, why wouldn't they shame this? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Wednesday we had you have your little run that was not much. Thursday's your captain's run.
Yeah.
And you're
So
there.
before the captain's run, you announce your side. I don't know anything. It's in a circle like this, announce the side. And they go 1, Willie Mayer, 2, 3, it goes to 8, goes to 9, I'm standing there, they go, 9, Chad Alcock. And I go,
You're starting.
I'm starting. I'm obviously very happy, but I'm
Yeah. Feeling sorry for the other guy.
very sorry. And that broke that guy. He didn't actually make it after
Yeah,
that.
Jimmy.
Yeah, he was a good player, but something like that as a young player. But I was just lucky. That cat season was good for me. Scored a lot of tries, played good. And then the very next season, I thought I'd go back to the Cats, but the Sharks took me again.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was that a gone
Yeah.
then?
No, it wasn't.
I was still there.
I didn't play that many games that year.
But
you-
awkward games.
Did you have to patch things up for them?
No, it wasn't like a big thing with the coach. It's just like that I wasn't prepared to take. This guy kept on edging.
Was it the coach?
No, it wasn't the coach. It was a player.
A player.
Yeah.
He's at you all the time.
Yeah, so I said to him, this year, there's not going to be that same. I will tell you.
Are you mates with that guy today?
No, I don't like him.
We'll find out afterwards.
Is he one of the 44?
Yeah, there he is behind you. No, I'm joking.
Is he one of the 44?
He's one of the oaks that is not well liked anyway.
There's a cat suit there as well.
Yeah.
And who's that behind you then?
That's a Wellington guy, the hooker. I can't remember his name. And that game I scored 2 tries. So that was...
Playing for the Cats or Sharks?
That's the Cats.
The Cats?
Yeah. And it was a lovely time.
That looked like and that's the Cats as well.
No, that's North Harbour.
North Harbour?
Yeah.
What a great picture.
And check, typical to New Zealand,
Yeah.
water and wet.
Yeah.
Guys, that's not anyone...
the
Bob jersey.
Getting looked there.
Who's that against? Ireland?
Okay, that's at Ireland and it's at Cork. Remember the Springboks who just played there? Yeah, so it's Cork.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's... Yeah.
Okay, and then tell us about the Springbok story. I mean, when did that call out come?
That was 98. My coach, that was from EP.
Yeah.
So it wasn't playing with one of the bigger teams.
Yes,
so if you take it, it's quite a it's very nice to make it from your home province.
Yeah,
sure.
And Faiz, we had a brilliant side that year. We beat most of the big sides.
Who was playing? Who were your teammates at that time?
Well, there was 8th man was Barry Pinnock.
Barry?
Barry. He's now
What a legend.
New Zealand. He's in America now.
He's in America.
He's in
Okay, is that
America
where he
now.
is?
What a legend.
Somebody tag Barry Pinnock. I'm sure he's on my Facebook as well.
Probably
Please.
sleeping now.
We must have a look through the comments as well. There's lots of.
And then Jacques Rieff, so Barry played flank 10, Jacques Rieff played 8th man, who's a very, very good player. We had some Dion Kaiser, the great Dion Kaiser, coloured player.
Yeah.
We had Ricardo Lopeshow, Henry Pedro. So that was the start of your integration,
Yes.
where you had your excellent coloured players play. They didn't get there because they weren't good.
Yeah.
They were there on merit, and that's what I want sport to be. I would like to be on
Absolutely.
it to be on merit.
Merit,
And our coach was Nelly Smith. He played Springboks as well, and he coached Springboks. And so we had a brilliant season that year, and it culminated in Dion and myself playing Springboks.
Okay.
So we were very, very honoured to do that, and it's something that I'll remember forever.
Sure.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
And you toured at Springboks. You toured to
The UK.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was
So it's England, Scotland, Wales, Ireland, and it was great.
Okay.
Do you know you got treated like a king?
Really? Yeah.
No, it was just everywhere. You go and play.
Limos.
You go and play golf. Everything's just set out there. You don't pay for
You
anything.
just rock it.
They come and pick you up, take you to the pub. You try and buy something. No. You don't pay for
It's
anything.
all right. Don't worry about it.
No, don't worry. Imagine what it is like now.
Imagine.
You
It's
talk
even
like
better.
that. I remember I think it was the 2007 World Cup. This infidel from Steinhoff.
Oh yeah. Houston.
Yeah, he took a group of guys over as supporters,
my word.
including Flum Micho, who was like as I understood it.
The cricketer Flum
understand
Micho.
it. Yeah, Flummy.
Yeah.
Flummy was like the entertainment manager.
I'm sure he was.
And,
How many?
I may be wrong, and if I am Flummy, excuse me, but as I understand the story, Marcus used to flew them all from Paris to Edinburgh. They went and played at the old golf course there. And after the golf, he ordered everybody around, and Marcus used to pay for the drink, and he said, this thing has just cost me $5,000. And Flummy said, can I net go proe? Can I just have a taste?
Yeah.
And he went,
Like he normally does.
$5,000 down in 1 second.
Oh, word.
All laid on.
Lovely.
Yeah, of someone else's money.
I see that.
Well,
But I mean, I don't know how things have changed. Was there a difference, like the two teams? Was there a culture difference there? Was there another sort of feel? Were the Sharks more chilled?
I'd say they were both very, very similar.
Okay.
I'd say when we went with the Cats, they weren't scared to, when you went to a restaurant and stuff like that, they just laid it out. There was a big, they realized I liked fishing.
Yeah.
So they said to me, okay, well, they've organized a boat. So I was like, what little boat?
Yeah.
And they said, but you must take some guys with you because I knew I could actually fish.
Okay.
So then there was like 6 or 7. I said, geez, how big is this boat? They ordered us like a 40-foot
When?
in New Zealand on the lakes.
New Zealand, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, we haven't touched on that New Zealand story.
Yeah.
huh?
Oh, you're
you
talking
could call
about it in the Springboks.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking
The
about
Springboks as well. Gino, they knew I like fishing, so they organised for
Okay.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're really good. They do the and then if they know like all the scrummers, you can check what Garth writes. Like he talks.
Yeah.
And they knew I was able to. So they said to me, would I commentate on one or two of the
games.
because I was playing midweek game, and I said no problem.
Yeah.
So they look after you.
Have you not considered going into that? I mean, you played this on the you played this on the thing, and you
Hugh Blading's a legend.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a Gavin Cowley.
Yeah.
I mean,
But now, Chaddy, if I may just ask, and you don't have to answer the question, is that where the shit started with Rassie and Bobby? Because I know there was a major headbanging incident with the two of them.
No.
Was it on that tour?
no,
Or could it
definitely
have-
wasn't on
Okay.
that tour. But I mean, Bobby is a very easygoing guy.
Skinstead.
Skinstead.
Yeah.
He's a lovely guy. Okay,
Yeah.
Rassie's a lovely guy, but Rassie thinks. I think he's a deeper thinker.
Okay. Yeah.
Whereas Bobby's just a fly off the cuff guy, the way
Yeah,
I can see
yeah,
it. He's done
excellent.
very well. They've both done very well for themselves.
Sure.
So you probably find there's two guys
Yeah.
that want the limelight,
Yeah, yeah.
and Bobby's going to take it.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
He's a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
I mean, all the women loved him.
It's true.
You know, I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's
yeah.
have a look at these comments here now. Going, Mike. Let's
Good
have a look.
point. Paige,
See,
let's take you on
Craig
about
Anderson. It's all good. Thanks, Father. Enjoying the chat. Good, Uncle Jumbo. We're happy to have you on board. The Viper. Great show. Great guest. And thank you from the Allison family.
One
PE.
of your mates.
There we go, Allison family. Stuart 40 to chat. Always great to listen and watch y'all on Gina's. Watch y'all on Gina's spot.
11 a.m. in
It's
the
11
States.
a.m.
So-
There we go. I'm drinking coffee. Lovely. So have a
Where's
couple
it?
for us. Yeah,
11
we're
a.m.
preparing for you, Stuart, for a little bit later on in the day. Your most memorable moment on the field?
Most,
Yeah, well, I know there's probably a lot of them.
no, it's actually probably quite an easy one. I was playing Sharks against the Blues,
Oh, yeah.
and you know there was a big crowd.
Yeah.
In Durban.
In Durban.
Oh,
no,
no,
in
no,
Durban. So that crowd, they love the Sharks players. They're so
Shark Tank.
patriotic.
Yeah.
And I broke down the right hand side of the field. We've got a right shoulder, so it was perfect for me. And we had the fullback and the wing were coming for me, but Dion Kaiser cut from the right wing in, and he stopped the one guy. So I still, and I realized I wasn't going to make it. So I thought I was probably, I don't know, good couple of meters away. So I sort of dived through the air, and the oak hit me in the air. There was 5 photos that hit the front page of I think it was the Mercury or something like that. And I managed to score in the corner. And
Yes.
when I went down, I looked back, and you know the whole crowd where I was
Yeah.
was like this.
Yeah.
You know, so you know you've done something. You know,
Sure.
and I've scored many tries in my life, but that one I can remember
Best
it
try.
like. Well, I think I scored better.
Okay.
But it was just that I had the public,
Yes.
that crowd support.
Shark
They-
Tank.
That's it.
In there.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So that was a very, very
Yeah.
You
There was
could
a
be
time
very
when-
proud of your achievement.
when the Oaks were complaining that you know, like all the EP players are going up to the Sharks because we had the super
Academy
story
as well.
and we had no
As well.
EP team.
Well, if you take it even from my point of view,
Yeah.
I'm probably the only local player because I'm born and bred Port Elizabeth. I never left. I had. If you see the offers that were on the table from Western Province
Really?
compared to what I was earning here,
Yeah.
and I stayed I'm a very loyal person, and I love Port
Yeah.
Elizabeth,
Okay.
Yeah.
and I love South Africa, but I stayed because of my family
Yeah.
and fishing. I know it seems.
Faji, take note.
You turned down.
That's Faji.
So you turned down Western Province. You turned down.
They doubled my salary.
Really?
They doubled it.
Nice.
Yeah, and I.
And what year are we talking about now? Late 90s?
That would have been probably 98 or 99.
And was that when they were playing that lovely brand of rugby, throwing the ball around? And
Yeah, it would have suited my game because if the guys don't know what sort of a rugby I played, I was more confrontational scrum off.
Okay.
I know I'm not a big guy, but that was my game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I love the physicality, and I scored tries.
Yeah,
So the great Donny Gerber, he is the greatest player in my opinion.
Yeah.
sure.
There's plenty of good players, but he's
Yeah.
a great.
Yes.
And in '98, I was on 13 tries for the season. That's quite a lot of tries for a scrum half.
Yeah.
Donnie Gerber, that's his record, was on 13 tries.
Yes.
And I was going to break his record. I was running for the line. Okay, I chipped. I was running for the line. All I had to do was dive on the ball to break the record. It was the last game in the Curry Cup. Because it's a Curry Cup, not a season record, Curry Cup.
Yeah.
And I was just there, and I got taken from the side late tackle.
Oh.
Early tackle, I should say.
Early tackle.
And I never scored it.
Yes.
Probably the best thing, because he was still the greatest
Yeah.
player. Oh, yeah. So fate intervened and took me out.
And Gary wants to know the hardest tackle that you've ever received or given.
Oh my God, I got a tackle from corner cricket. It's probably on one of the biggest hits. And then in those days, you can tell him you were allowed
Was
to.
he offside?
No, I just didn't see him. And he crunched me.
Well, he's such a small guy, I can understand.
Yeah, but when you don't see anything and you get crunched, then
Yes.
he picked me up and in those days you were allowed to do it.
Yeah.
And he pushed me into the ground and lucky enough I hit my shoulder
You
first.
fucked him up afterwards.
No, I was too anal.
Did he leave the field?
No, I didn't leave the field. I've never ever gone off the field for. So one of the few guys I never missed a match.
Oh, wow. So never injury.
No, these Alcocks are strong. Eh?
Well,
His
in those days, so I broke my ribs against Southwestern Districts.
Okay, wow.
And in those days,
Straight base.
so what they did is they just gave you an injection
Yeah.
that we accepted.
Yeah.
So it wasn't.
I signed the papers.
And I played like a good couple of games like that. I'd have like bad ankle. You put like a brace on it.
Yeah.
So in those days, it's not like today where they really look after their players. But I never wanted to get off the field.
Yeah, of course.
And is your body alright now? Have you got
Nothing.
You're
No
a
pain.
bad example.
no pain?
No pain. You know what? I have a couple of these every night.
The painkiller.
Yeah.
And it's, I'm one of those fortunate guys, So when I did get an injury, and this is a good thing for young guys, rugby players, cricket players, soccer players, doesn't matter what. I used to take a ice pack, 15 minutes on the injured part, and it would usually be a ankle or a calf or whatever.
Knee.
Then I'll take a 15 minutes of a hot pack, which would be a water bottle. 15 minutes of ice, 15 minutes and I'll do that in the morning, lunch and supper. And that's what kept me, in my opinion, on the field.
Wow.
And then when we later stages with the Sharks and Cats, we were in ice baths and what they all do now.
Okay, yeah.
But I was doing that way before.
Yeah.
So as soon as I made my sort of debut, I was keeping my body in the best shape that I could possibly, and I would try and be the fittest player in the side.
Okay.
So I trained hard in the gym. I trained hard on the field. I trained hard during practice.
Do you still train, Chad?
No, but I still stay fit.
Looking like a chisel.
Yeah, look, he's still the same size and weight as he was in
He
the
could still
trick.
be playing somewhere.
Good
Well, I
Lord,
still
man.
play touch rugby.
Yeah, here
We-
we go.
yeah, well,
You sacrificed the
we
night
got
tonight.
that's what I said to you.
Oh,
I
is
said,
that-
listen, for me
You
to
sacrificed the
sacrifice
night.
touch
Touch
rugby,
rugby tonight.
we got a great bunch of guys there. We a similar sort of thing. PE boys.
Yeah.
We've been playing for 17 years. The
Jeez.
odd new guy comes along, the odd business guy, and we just have a great time. And then we have a beer afterwards.
Well,
Yeah,
thank
it's
you.
like-
We feel honoured.
Yeah, no, we excellent. We're sorry about that, guys. Carl Barmester's on board. Yeah, he says, how's it, Carl? We were just talking about you earlier.
The Alex.
Your Alex boys online. I see. Barbara Gunn, Barbara Manor. She's on board as well. Big soccer
thanks,
lady.
yes. Lovely lady.
Thank you.
Hello, Barbs.
Loud, clear, and honest. That's
Schmitty!
the way it's gonna be.
There's a legend.
Etienne Schmidt.
One of the very few guys who has played. We're coming to the game to Schmitty.
Yeah.
One of the very few guys who's played cricket and rugby for Eastern Province.
Oh, really?
Etty, nice to see you, my man.
Like Gavin.
Gavin, Jeff
Gavin
Jacob,
County.
Dave
Gavin
Keller,
County,
and I think Etty.
Dave Keller.
Dave Callahan as well, yes.
Yeah.
Tony Sipman saying, how's it, Chad, always a loyal, great and loyal EP player. That's an amazing story
I'll
that you
always
got.
be a loyal EP.
But what kept you in EP then if they're doubling your salary? It's just family.
You know something. I never loved money.
Yeah.
Okay, if I did, I would have done a lot of, afterwards I've been offered big bucks to coach, all that sort of stuff. So I've sort of done what I like,
Yeah.
which not many people get that opportunity to do. I think
It
that's
stayed under the radar.
Yeah, I
really,
try.
Yeah.
So I loved EP. I loved fishing.
Yeah.
So I've just done that sort of thing. It's like that guy said. Have you caught any big ones at the game twos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been catching some beautiful fish at the game twos, but we don't put them on Facebook and WhatsApp like we used to because we are big conservationists. And
You're a
once
very
you do
humble
that,
man. You're a very humble man.
Yeah.
well, my parents fortunately taught us that sort of thing.
Very humble man.
He's a great person.
Lovely
my dad.
man.
Yeah.
Great guy. Davey,
Just as a
well done on the nippers here.
Yeah, we actually were talking earlier as well about the Alcock family and your great grandfather. Of course, we're in Thomas Road here. Alcock Road is just parallel to this one, about 50 meters away.
About 50
Named
meters
after
away.
your
Great grandfather.
grandfather who had the first car in Port Elizabeth.
Port Elizabeth.
I don't know if there's actually a picture out there. I don't know if Gary can find it. But
I've got one that they gave it, but I obviously don't have it yet.
it was in front of the PE club or something.
Play rugby. Was he also a scrum half?
Maybe he was taller.
You never know.
There's some other
People don't
messages
know.
here. I just saw
I
one
see
there now
Elizabeth
that-
Ewing Morris there saying awesome
Okay,
stories.
so that's the Ewings are Bert Ewing married my dad's sister.
Oh, okay.
They're a fantastic family. Elizabeth is in Joburg,
And
which
JR?
they used to get that all the time. They got the phone calls, JR Ewing. So they were a fantastic family. Unfortunately, I'm a big South African. A couple of them have gone to overseas. Sheena in New Zealand.
So you're not a mover. You're not going to go and move
There's
overseas.
no ways you'll get me anywhere.
I like that.
Paige, what's happening? Paige, I want you to hear this. You, Paige, I want you.
Yeah.
There's Elizabeth.
Yes,
Yes.
you're saying how's it there?
Gerald's
Yeah,
sister.
And Mike, old VP boy.
Tony.
We both old VP boys, yeah.
Victoria Park.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we had
Amazing.
lots of cricket games.
We did.
Rugby, they used to, I say that, they used to moor us on the field. We still would like scrape a win, but that was one of the hardest games. It was a
Quite
hard game.
amazing. It's quite amazing, and I was thinking about it today. There've been an incredible amount of Alex Gray and VP boys on the show.
Yeah, that'd be. But it will be. I generally, it must be something to do with the Eastern Cape, So
Sure.
we've had a couple of Selbornians, we've had a couple of Queens boys, a couple of Dale boys.
Yeah.
The girls as well. VP, Alex, a couple of Alex girls as well. But also local schools,
Local
we love
schools.
It's rich school culture here.
Absolutely.
And it's in the Eastern Cape.
We're lucky.
Yeah.
We've got such fantastic schools, and I try until I'm a big South Africa. I love South Africa.
me too.
As many people as I can tell, and I'm one of those people. I'm fortunate that I have travelled a number of places with my wife, and we still continue to travel.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, we don't know what we've got in South Africa.
Yeah.
And I think we've got to appreciate what we've got. And we've got a beautiful country.
very
It's
right,
not
Chad.
it's not that the grass is always greener
Yeah.
overseas.
Yeah.
It can be better for certain. Maybe there's a crime situation, but really, we've still got a fantastic country, and I think we need to build it up. There's people coming back.
Yes, of course.
If I may expand on what you're saying, I mean, I've never seen the Namakwa and daisies.
Yeah.
And how many other people haven't either? But the
there's-
first port of call when you get you
It's
go overseas.
great.
And I haven't explored this country.
And
And you look at the coastline as a fisherman.
Look at Limpopo.
Yeah.
What they've got there. It's beautiful.
But it's deeper than that. It's part of who you are, Chad. And I feel if I had to go overseas, although it's English speaking and it's whatever, there's expats there, but it's not home. I do feel. I don't know if the guys that are out there. I mean, you make something at home, and when you do decide, then I think you've got to make a go of it, and you've got to make it happen. But there's certainly a part of you that's always harking back to your roots.
Yeah. But
And the guys will know. I mean, Stuart. I don't know if you feel the same, but the guys there are lots of expats that actually watch, and I love PE. And I'm glad I'm in PE.
Well, I'm going to stay in PE. It's the hidden jewel. I mean, it's a fantastic place. You get in your car, and in 15 minutes, you're at the beach.
Yes,
And then you're at Swartkops River, Sundays River, Tues River,
absolutely.
and then you had Addo Elephant Park, then you had Shamwari. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got, what have we got? We've got everything.
But listen, if I may just go back to, you spoke about that 13th try. And as you were about to dive for the ball, you got bundled into
Yeah, I got
touch.
tackled, yeah.
I,
They
spoke
never
to-
quite, mate.
I asked him the question, and Gary's got the video of him catching punsies.
Oh yeah.
And they filmed it quite tightly, so I couldn't quite work out where they were catching these punskop. So I asked him, I think on Sunday, I think
Yeah.
it might have been.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I thought they were catching these punskop
Yeah.
on the Marine Drive, and there's a spot there where near Willows you get a lot of those juvenile
Yes.
punskop.
Yeah.
And you get lots of them in the summer months,
Okay.
especially.
Okay.
So he says to me, no, it's at Bushy Park. Now, I spent the weekend at Bushy Park with two
Yeah.
very good friends of ours, Paul and Patty Myers. And I was, he's
Good people.
Bushy Park. No, lovely
Good people.
They've got a lovely shack there. We had a lovely weekend
Beautiful.
with a couple of other acts. And, all other
Secret
people.
that. Secret.
No, fantastic. But to go back to the try, and we actually spoke about this on the weekend.
Yeah.
As he was about to dive for the ball and bundle into touch, reminds me of that story about the animals versus the insects.
Yeah.
The curtain raiser to, I think it could have been the 76 All Blacks
Yeah.
South African game.
Yeah.
And to cut a long story short, because Oaks have dragged the story out for 30 minutes or 20 minutes, but the Nasda elephant was about to dive for the line.
Yeah.
And what reminded me of it was I spent quite a lot of the weekend throwing Dason Porter, you know, the black thing with the 1,000 legs, centipede.
Centipedes. Dyson Poort. Yeah.
Taking them out of the shack and chucking them into the bush at Bushy Park.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And the story had to be told. So as the Nasna elephant was diving for the line like you were for your 13th try, you got bundled into touch and the Nasna elephant lay on its back, trunk murtu, feet up in the air.
Yeah.
And this is a Gavin Cowley story, by the way. The captain of the insects hopped over, he's a grasshopper, and he said, geez, I did that back tackle, that oak. And from below the grass blades there came this little hand, he said, I did. He said, who are you? He said, I'm the centipede with the Dason Poort. He said, where were you in the first half? He said, I'm putting my boots on.
Good one.
There must be him.
Oh, there we go. There's your
Yeah.
great grandfather. Is that the one?
Found him, Gary.
Wow.
She was. That's one. Yes.
It'll
Look
take
at,
us 2 weeks to get to Grahamstown.
that grandmother of yours looks hectic. Eh?
Where is it? Is that the grandfather with the bicycle?
Yes, like that's Mr. Alcock, and then Alcock Road is named after them. It's fantastic.
William Alcock, yeah.
There you
William
go.
Alcock.
William Alcock.
Was he a mayor or something? Or
I think he was the mayor, yeah.
I think he's a mayor.
He
Yeah.
was the mayor, yeah.
But he
I
had
don't
the
know what
first-
happened after that,
The
Gino.
first car. Well, I mean, once somebody else got another car because that clearly wasn't very fast. Then it was like, who's got
I
the
think a
fastest
horse.
car? Okay, so now we're going to get into fishing because I mean, clearly fishing is a big. I know you were in New Zealand. North
Trout fish,
North
yeah,
Harbour.
North Harbour.
North
I think we
Harbour
need
was
to show
your
the proper
rugby
fishing,
team.
Gary.
Yes.
After North Harbour, you
I retired.
retired after.
Yeah.
I know you want reason for retiring.
Well, my reason for retiring was in 1996 or 1997, EP decided to spend a hell of a lot of money on some top class players, Springboks, Wallabies, New Zealand players. So Theo van Rensburg came out, great guy.
Yeah.
I respected his rugby, but he was at the end of his top rugby.
Yeah.
He had come from Transvaal, had he not?
He had come from Transvaal.
Yeah, and played for South Africa.
And he
in
played for South
94.
Africa. He was a great player. So we
Yeah.
can't. He was really, really good. So we're not. And Matthew Webber came from New Zealand, and then I can't remember the Australian Sam Scott Young. Also,
Yes, I remember him, yeah.
lovely guy. I'll tell you a story about the Lions. What happened? It's quite a funny story with Sam. So as that season progressed, I realized that these guys were just they weren't at the top of their game, and they were, in my opinion, like a pensioner.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Too old to play.
Too old to play, but you still deserve to get paid.
Yes.
So I decided then I will never be that player.
Okay.
Because I'm a principled person, and I try and stick to what it tells me.
Yeah.
And I said I'd never be that player, and I had arguably in North Harbour one of my best seasons ever.
Yeah.
It was just the ball just dropped. If you look at some of the tries I scored, it was lucky where the ball just drops in your hand and you score tries.
Yeah.
You chip a ball in wet weather where it should plug and it drops straight into your hand. So I had a nice season. It was one of my best ever. And I came back and I said, I just don't have that drive.
Yeah.
Can I just interject here? I read an article on the weekend or Sunday afternoon about you and North Harbour. Your ability, not only on the field, but to help people off the field. Opening the door when a guy couldn't open the door, running off during...
Yeah,
Could have been
they were like a bit...
I think that's
so I
fantastic.
would open the door for women.
Oh, right.
You know, which
Yeah.
that's how I was brought
Sure,
up.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so
exactly. Eastern Cape
it actually
manager.
came from a bank, and I'd open the door, and the lady over there, the teller, she saw me open the door for the old lady,
Yeah.
and she said to me, and I went up to her, and I was actually going to draw some money. So I went to her, and she says, and then she heard that I wasn't New Zealand, and she said to me, I just saw you open the door for that old lady.
Yeah.
So I said, that was normal for me.
Yeah.
You know, I said, that's normal
Yeah,
for me.
good,
I said,
fantastic.
I do that. I said, I open the door for the woman to, I walk on the right-hand side when you walk in. And that was my mom that taught me that sort of etiquette, and my dad would taught, you know, that I come into the room and shake your hand.
Proper Eastern Cape stuff.
Take your cap
Yeah.
off, you know.
That's how I know your dad.
Yeah, so that in New Zealand, I did it wherever I went.
Yeah.
And there was actually also, and I'm not going to say that he's a famous rugby player. So when I got there, I was treated, the rugby guys treated me beautifully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know, I'm trying to talk to some of the girlfriends and wives, and they're like treating me like if I'm not like a nice person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're South African.
Because I'm South African.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I said to, after about the third week, I said to the guy, listen, I said, I'm confused. What is happening here? I said, you guys treat me brilliantly.
Yeah.
And then the women don't treat me badly, but they like hardly say a word. They said, no, they were in England playing with certain South African rugby player, and he treated his wife very, very badly. So they thought all South Africans.
Oh,
Yeah.
And
They
then
just
after
paint you
that,
in the
they
same
realized
brush.
that they were great. We got invited to all the parties. We
Oh,
got,
nice. Okay, good.
Yeah. So it was a good. It was a good time. Yeah.
Okay, so you retired then, but then fishing.
Fishing.
You've been a family thing from the beginning.
Here we go.
Yeah, so growing up, my dad was a mad keen fisherman. His dad was a mad keen fisherman.
Okay.
So the fishing's in our blood.
Yeah.
You know, my twin brother and I, mad keen fishermen. You know, his son's a keen fisherman. So it just goes right through. You know, so growing up, my dad on a Sunday, Michael know this. If the east wind blows, and this is a good tip for anyone that wants to know how to catch hotties, we'd go to Cape Recife. And you would catch a thing called a hottie or a bluefish or a bronze bream. Very nice eating fish, high in iodine, very healthy for you. And I'll never forget, every Sunday when I was old enough to fish, which was when we were like...
When did you start?
Look, we started when we were like 2 with a little rod and reel fish.
With your dad?
With my dad fishing for mullet in Port Alfred.
Jeez.
Little beach, people won't even know these areas. Little beach, you go sit there, you chum for the mullet, and you put a float on and you catch fish. Little hook.
Your dad was a mad fisherman.
Mad kid.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then, you know, so then on the Sunday, I'd always get up early. I've never been a guy that likes, and I'd be up and I'd look out and I'd say to my dad, it's blowing east. He goes, are you sure? I said, Dad, it's blowing east. I'd go into the road, little 6-year-old.
East.
Now, west is this way.
Yeah.
At my parents' house, east is this
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
It'll be blown this way. That's west.
Yeah.
He says, are you sure, boy? I said, yes. He says, okay, let's go. And he knows it's a flipping west because now the west, you don't catch as many hotties.
Yeah.
It's not as easy. But if you go, Fires knows the area very, very well. If you go to Centre Reef, then you catch on the west.
Okay.
But it's harder as a 6-year-old. My dad would have to carry us through the rock, carry us onto that rock because it's deep water.
Correct.
And fish like that. So we grew up every weekend. My poor old mom, Gale Force East. If anyone knows what a Gale Force East does in PE,
We all know.
it's hectic. My poor mom
all
sits
know.
in the car, and her husband and sons, and my poor sister sits in the car, and
But don't you find that wind? I don't know if you guys are out there as well. When you're in PE and that wind is blowing it, and for me it feels like it's home, man. It's like
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
the smell.
It's
Correct.
that easterly blows. It's like shit, but you just stay and watch the wind, and it's fine. It feels I don't mind.
Sorry, if I may just go back a step. Do you not, before we get onto the fishing thing, want to pay tribute to Garth Wright?
look, Garth Wright. I must be quite honest. Big Springbok. He was a big Springbok.
Correct.
He contacted me and he said to me, look, I'd like to share some stuff with you. I said to him, Garth, I mean, I looked up to Garth Wright. I used to watch his games, he was arguably one of the best players EP had. Then unfortunately he moved to Transvaal, but then he came back.
Yes.
And Garth, he said to me, listen man, let's try and refine your game. So he, at lunchtime, remember he had a big business. He was a busy man. He didn't have to help me. He didn't know me. But he watched some of my games and he thought, okay. And I really appreciate it.
I've got somebody here that I can help.
Yeah. And he said to me, Chad, let's do, and he would put balls on the field. Yeah, he was excellent. And he says, okay, you take the ball from here, you're going to take a step back and you're going to kick it. And I wasn't the best kicker and he knew that. And he was helping me refine my game so that I could become a better EP player or perhaps a Springbok. And that's what he did. He helped me to become a Springbok. And then he would help me on the pot, get me to sit at that. Like he said to me that he used to at Muir, because he's a Muir boy, he would sit in like a squash court and he'd put something against the wall and he'd pass the passes against that. So he made me pass against a pole. And stuff like that. So I really owe him a debt of gratitude. And I do appreciate what he did. And I think, like, if I can help someone like that, but what we've done in fishing, we've helped hundreds, if not thousands of people catch fish. Because we give our information out very liberally. We don't freely. We don't like hide it. It's getting harder because of social media.
Of course.
Well, I was going to ask you that question. I mean, I can remember in the 90s, if you went to a spot and you caught fish,
I know, it's
Mark
like
Holmes used
surfing
to write
spots.
in the paper. We used to catch 2 or 3 steenbras at Kings Beach, big steenies like this. Mark Holmes would put caught at CV or Maitland. And all that should go racing out to Maitland's. Kings Beach.
I actually think it's got like that now because your top fishermen, there's a saying, it's a true saying, that 90% of fish are caught by 10% of the fishermen.
Correct.
Okay. And then the other 10% of the fish is caught by the 90%. Unfortunately. So what's happened is your top fishermen now are not putting the stuff on social media like they were.
Very much. Very much.
So it's that sort of thing, but still.
And I wanted to ask you this question now. I mean, we're going to get onto the fishing thing now. You've got some incredible catches here and great photographs. You don't put it on social media?
Not anymore.
When did you stop?
We stopped about 2.5 years ago. It was becoming counterproductive. So now Gino is not, I'm not
a fisherman at all.
So he sees and he just sees the picture and he loves it. He goes, because you've let the fish go and you're doing the right thing.
But is it not a good advert for your business?
Okay, but here's the problem. Your top guy, he sees it and he goes and catches those fish. So we're in a catch-22 situation. So what we do is, so I go to Transkei a lot. So I go onto the rocks and I try and help guys catch fish. They often, guys, you don't understand how much money they actually spend sometimes because they never catch a fish. So you help him catch one fish. He suddenly is a believer in your shop and he says, okay, the Alcocks help him.
He's going to come to you.
He's going to come to you. So it's direct marketing. So it's a very, very difficult thing. I suppose if I was like this and doing a show with your fish, it's a different situation because then you're going to get the hits and then you're going to get, you're going to make a living.
I mean, as a fisherman, I would want to talk to a guy who catches fish like that.
But also, you there we go. There's some.
Here we go. Here we go.
Gee whiz, that's a mousse of fish.
What did that weigh?
Look, I don't know actually what it weighed. It weighed about 30 kilos because I let them all go. So my wife always tells me she's going to buy fish because I. But occasionally, I do keep some fish occasionally. But like this day, it was myself, my brother, and his son, and we got 19 cob, varying in size, and we let all of them go.
Can I just stop here, Gary? Well, how do we do this? Can somebody tag Alan Lamb because he loves his fishing?
Yes, I'm sure. Somebody
Paige,
online.
would you, if you're there, would you
ask
mind
the people
tagging
that are
Alan
online
Lamb?
now? They can tag Alan Lamb, I'm sure. And in fact, there's a couple of comments that have come through there. I see Mark Morris saying, like an interview there, and Camilla, what did she say? I did exactly as you do the cold and hot therapy, and it shattered my arm. I said, gee whiz, they say you nearly lost an arm. Good Lord. Shows you what that does. Mark Morris, such a rugby talent. Your Auntie Jill is always so proud.
You know what? We're proud of Auntie Jill's, which is a fantastic lady. And she's my dad's sister.
Okay.
And you know,
hello, Auntie Jill.
Hello, Auntie Jill. Lovely to meet you, Auntie Jill.
You know what? We've got in the family. There was a lady called Auntie Pip. Okay. So but she loved gin and tonic.
Oh,
a lot.
Like you.
There we go.
Yeah.
Fit in
So
So
boots,
you'll
yeah.
get on very well with my auntie.
Can you put a few pictures on there so I can go and get another beer and a gin and tonic, please, Gary?
Let's have a look at the other comments there quickly. See Chad, Stuart Potito, there's Lindsay saying, awesome chat. Thanks, man, from Penn Travel PE crew. Oh, excellent.
Yeah, so Lindsay, also a lovely lady. She works. She's a colleague of my wife's. They've got a really nice group of people and they work at Penn Travel. And that's the reason that I can also travel sometimes
Kathy
because they
Telford.
work. Yes,
Kathy's
the boss.
Yes, Kathy's there as well.
Yes, yeah.
Kathy the
There we
boss.
go. How's it, Kath? And you're 100% correct. Port Elizabeth, Dubai. And
Correct,
Eastern
you.
Cape is the best place in South Africa.
No doubt.
Absolutely. Robert Kane says, looking good, mate.
Robert Kane.
There we go.
Wow.
High school cricket tour. And then, did you get fraught?
Were you a batsman or a bowler? Or both?
Now you insulted me. I was a pace bowler.
A pace bowler. You
Listen,
needed the height.
listen. You are wild. So
Rosin Alcock.
that's my wife.
Oh, there is.
Hello, Rosin.
At the request and a grunter.
Yeah, I
too.
think
That's-
For supper.
yeah, for some.
Gary, the producer, loves to catch grunter. Chad, I think we must all go and have a little hoy.
And then put that little. There's a little video that we got. That Gary's got
Sweetie,
as
I'll
well.
try my best. I always tell I'm going to catch grunter and I never do. I go for cop.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look.
The
Here we go.
punskop is prized by anglers, and it is a wonderful fish to catch because of its solid fighting ability and large size. Apply as much line pressure as possible when fighting a punskop, so that you give it as little leeway as possible to maneuver itself.
Slightly better fish.
This one tries its best to swim down between the rocky reef, but Chad keeps applying maximum pressure and manages to pull it over the back ledge. If the fish gets hooked up and applying pressure does not loosen it, try giving it some slack in the line, wait about 15 seconds, and very often you will find that the fish will free the sinker. The punskop is on SASSI's orange list, which means the population is severely threatened by overexploitation. It takes up to half a century for an adult to reach its full length of up to 1.2 meters. After a good fight, this fish eventually tires and is brought safely into the gully. It's nice to have a brother to grab your fish for you. I mean, what else are brothers for? After this, the brothers head on back with punskop number 3 for the morning.
Let me just get this rod down quickly. Okay. Oops, see, he's still strong. Just caught him. What a beautiful punsy. Caught on a quarantine head, about a 90-meter throw. Tackle 1 mil leader, because we got hooked up a couple of times in the frontier, and that 1 mil leader you can just winch him through there. And SL15, a custom built 12-foot rod. Ideal tackle for these fish. And quarantine head has been awesome for these bigger fish. I see my brothers having a throw there now, same spot, and hopefully we can catch another one there. But let's get this fish back in the water and let him go.
It's a satisfying sight to see these fish swim away underwater.
Shall we talk?
It's
shall we
amazing,
talk about
yeah.
the punskop?
Punskop, yeah, because I always thought a punskop was just a oak, a dolphin. Ah, you punskop.
Well, there are those,
Yeah.
but then there's the proper punskop.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Or black mussel cracker.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Okay,
black
okay.
mussel cracker, yeah.
It seems as if they made a nice comeback here, Chad.
They've made a fantastic comeback, and that's what I'd like to tell people is
Sure.
don't always believe what the media tells you or,
Yes.
or what the negativity. There
Yeah.
are stacks of those size punskop all along our coast and bigger. So they made a great, and in that area of Lorries Bay,
Bushy Park.
Bushy Park, There are so many of those fish. And those guys do respect them there. And I mean, you get a lot bigger ones, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 kilos. So I think they are correct in saying that if an area is not heavily fished, you will get more of them. But in general, if we all respect and take our limit, we'll be fine.
And that's certainly not a fish that you want to keep.
No.
I mean, we spoke about them on the weekend, and funny enough, one of the guys with us on the weekend at Bushy caught a busterman off the beach.
Yes.
In quite clear water.
What's a busterman?
Sand soldier or
A center, I think.
a center. Very nice eating fish, by the way. It's a deep sea fish.
Okay.
So why they come in is because cold water
Yes.
forces them into the shallows. So you would have a cold upwelling, and then they come into the shallows. And then they're regularly caught when there's cold water.
But going back to the punskop or the black mussel cracker, I mean, I wasn't sure if it was this explosion of social media or this social media improvement, if you like. But I'm seeing more and more pictures on Facebook of guys catching big punskop.
Okay.
Now, whatever the case is, it suggests to me that they made a great comeback. And I mean, at one stage, like you say in the video, they were in deep shit.
Yeah, so they made a comeback probably because your commercial fishermen are not keeping them like they used to. So if you go to places like the Wild Coast, they're thick. And they're not these little ones like you saw me catching. They're proper, they're 20, 30, 35 kilos. Lovely fish,
Gee whiz. I see Big John fishing charters there.
John Allen.
There we go.
I'd love to go out with that guy.
John is saying, Joe, we go. Maybe we'll get an invite now. Big John. A
Well,
phenomenal
you'll
fishing
definitely
fan.
catch some fish if you go with Big John
No,
Charters.
I
He's,
I look at his pictures on Facebook.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Dave being my favourite troll at the shop, a wealth of knowledge that cannot be equaled. There you go. I see Davina Coombs as well. Davina Ladmore saying, nice punzi. Yeah.
From Bushy Park to Wien.
That's it. Fantastic.
And thanks, by the way. Sorry.
No, I just saw another one. Neil Radford there saying, how's it there too at the bottom, saying, seriously, Bunskop and some strange language.
In South Africa, it's
You can't.
P-O-E-N-S.
Yeah, there's an N in there. There's an N, all right. There you go.
Lawrence TJ Finn. Hello, Lawrence.
Saying
I
hi
haven't seen him for a while.
from the UK.
From the UK.
That's
They
why.
touch rugby.
Good man.
Oh, there we go. It was your touch rugby era. Oh, you would have been missing out. You're also missing out tonight then, Lawrence.
Yeah.
Very good man.
Now you're going to see all the oaks that haven't been playing with you for a while that have got injuries because of your
Well,
touch rugby.
when some of the guys come there, they haven't played for a while, so they think they can run.
Yeah. Of
Guys,
course.
it's hilarious. They just hamstring. I mean, we're not youngsters anymore.
No, you can't. You can't just go for it. You got to do some serious warm-ups. So and other fish. I mean, I think let's have a look at some of those pictures as well, Gary. We've got.
Let's get into the serious side.
Here we go. Look at that.
Let's get into the serious stuff.
That is a big. It's a cob. You say.
That's a cob, yeah. So
There's a river there.
that's a river. So that's the Game Tues River. Look at those conditions. I mean, how can anyone not want to fish in those perfect, ideal conditions?
Yeah.
So that there, my brother and I and my dad have been doing for. It must be 35, 40 years.
Off the bank.
Do you remember?
No, we're on the boat.
On the boat.
Do you remember Gordon Howe's interview? I told Gino and Gary about it. Do you remember him interviewing you at Cape Recife in 2001?
I think that was 2000. Yeah,
21 years ago.
I can't believe it's
And
that
you were
long.
talking about
Those
you
big
had
cobs.
pictures. And
Well, Mark Holmes, who you know very well.
very well.
I got so I was playing for Saders under 20, and we were playing against. I can't remember the side because I got into serious trouble because I launched the boat in the morning at 6 o'clock.
Where? At the game.
At Game Tues.
Yeah.
And I said to my friend, remember, I've got to play at 6 o'clock tonight. I've got a game. So he says, we'll never be here by then. So we catch our first fish. I'll tell you the size of the first, because we weighed them then and we let them go.
Yes.
So the first fish was 12.5 kilos. So it was a small, for us that's a small fish.
Yeah.
So we took a photo, we let it go. The next fish was 27 kilos.
Jeez, like.
It's a nice fish.
Yeah.
We're very happy.
Yeah.
Took a photo, let it go. The next fish I got was 37 kilos. So they're just going up in size. But now, I'm like looking and it's like lunchtime. And I said to the listen, remember something, I've got to get back to PE, I've got to get my boots, I've got to,
Your dogs.
Yeah. And
And I've got a decent
so he says, but he hadn't caught a fish yet. I'd got
Yeah.
3. So he says, but I need to catch a fish. So I said, okay, cool, Dave. It's not a problem. His name's Dave Mulder. You should troll with him a lot in Game Tues. And About an hour later, he hooks another fish, but a really big fish. Now you got to understand, we're closer to 3 o'clock now. So it's a big fish. This one weighed 45 kilos.
Jeez.
45 kilos. We took a photo, weighed it, let it go. So I said to him, listen, Dave, this must be our last troll because I'm going to get into big shit here. So I still remember I put my rod in the rollers because I wasn't expecting another fish. And yes, that rod just buckled. It was like this. And I was like, oh shit. I realized this. And when I picked it up, I said, this is a monster. And it's actually in the shop, that fish on the wall, that massive cod, it's that fish.
Okay.
50 kilos.
54.5 kilos.
Wow. Is that
No, it's much bigger than that one.
What
Much
did that
bigger
weigh,
than
by the
that
way?
Much bigger than that
Good
one.
Lord,
did
man,
that
that's
weigh?
bigger than you.
This one was about 41. Okay, so it was a fair size bigger. And I played that fish as hard as I could. Guys, I got it out in 25 minutes.
Because you had to go and play rugby.
Because I had to play rugby. And then I realized, I said to Dave, yes. Then there were a whole lot of oaks that watched me land the fish there. So I put it on the boat, and I'm sad to say I did keep it, but it's better to keep that massive fish because it's already near closer to the end of its life. So I'm not trying to warrant it, I'm just saying I kept it.
Sure.
And I don't keep a lot of big fish like that. And we rushed. I think I still phoned, and I don't know if it was my mom and dad that dropped my togs. I got there at half time. Half time.
Oh, no,
but they still put me on the field.
But now, Chad, let's understand how that river works. I mean, you've got to have an understanding of fishing.
Yes.
No one can just go and gooi there
No.
and catch cob like that. So what
It's
is
the same
background
as
to it?
Gino trains for this job.
Yeah.
How he did his introduction, I was impressed by it. I would never be able to do that unless I trained 1,000 years.
Agreed.
You know, so it takes. So we have an understanding. A cob itself it's structure orientated.
Yeah.
So if you know what structure you're looking for, there's your first thing. Then it's seasonal for the big cobs. So we know what time of the year to troll for the big cobs. Then it's what lure to use. And it's what speed to troll. So it's actually, there's a lot of different things.
Okay, so let's start with the structure.
Some lures.
Because in
That's a
river-
very good pedal tail for them, yeah.
In a
Pedal
river,
tail.
it's very difficult to, or is it difficult to understand the structure?
No, it's not difficult because so when you're trolling, when you don't have a depth sounder, so it shows you, new depth sounders show you what the structure looks like. Side scanners,
Correct.
everything.
But you don't have one now.
I don't use it, we don't use a depth sounder.
Yeah, so
So
what do you actually
we
look
trolled, so we let our lure out until we knew what depth it was.
for?
And you
Okay.
trolled the whole area.
Yeah.
So it took years to do that with my dad and brother. And then we realized that was mud, this was rock.
Yes.
So you don't troll because you lose your lures. So you just troll off of it. And you know what length to let out so that your lure is a meter above the bottom.
And you're talking about this lure now as an
Well,
example that Gino's holding, or
This,
one of those.
this lure, that Gino's holding a pedal tail, which is a
Yeah.
magnificent lure made by my dad. That we throw off the rocks
Get
for
it.
cob. That there. A simple lure like that. It's a 15 centimeter lure with a 2.5 meter lip.
Hold it up for
And what sort of depths would that
the
go up
camera
to?
this side.
Okay. So the easy way of knowing how that does is that if you let it out 30 meters, it does 2.5 meters. So that's what it's meant to do.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So if
okay.
you let it out 40 meters, it does 3.5 meters.
Yeah.
So if you needed to go to a certain depth, you will troll it the length of the line. And obviously the more line that's out the back of the boat, the cob can't hear the motor trolling, so it's more relaxed.
And are they feeding on the bottom?
They're actually not feeding, Mike. So what they're doing is they're sitting there in schools, just merrily parking off,
Having a beer.
having like us, having a beer, having a nice time.
Sociable
They're
fish.
sociable fish. Yeah, they talk to each other.
Crack or something.
And so they're sitting there waiting for a mullet to swim over the bank. So when that mullet swims over the bank, they're ready. Out they go and they eat it.
So are they just on the drop off?
They're on the drop off. So they're sitting there waiting. And the reason we've sort of worked it out when the best tide is to fish for those fish, when you can catch them all day.
What is the best time?
Your best tide is closer to your lower tide because there's less water in the river.
Okay.
Yeah, and then your mullet are forced off of your banks into your deep water. It's
Yes.
common sense,
Okay.
actually.
Sure.
So once
Much
you,
like That Port St. John's Rapala trip.
Port St. John's, it's still
Yeah.
just as great as it used to be.
Is it safe there though?
Look, I'm from the old school. Eh? We still go everywhere. The Transkei, we just go. My wife and I love it. My brother and I love it. Our families love it. Like this lure here is a
Where is
specific.
this?
That's called a weedless paddle tail. So if you look here, the hook is not exposed.
Yes.
But when the cob bites, it's exposed on the hooks. So you can reel it over rocks. It's an ingenious way. My dad designed it a couple of years ago.
So
And
they were designed by you.
By my dad, yeah.
Where's this thing so is this also designed by your dad?
By my dad, yeah. So obviously paddle tail's old, but this particular rig is a Dave Alcock rig. You know, no one else did it before him. They were copying, obviously.
Yes.
But it's his rig.
And what sort of weight does he go up to on the
Okay, on that he goes up to 5 ounce.
5 ounces.
Is this the ounces here?
Yes, the
two
2 ounce.
Two
Yeah.
ounce,
2 ounce,
yeah.
Yeah.
So you can throw these things quite far.
You can throw them far, so
one,
that
yeah.
would obviously use that on like 11-foot rod. And then as the weight goes up, you can, so like you're on a 14-foot rod, which
Yeah.
is not ideal to spin with, but you can
Sure.
still throw a 5 ounce.
Correct. Well, you need the length for the
That's
distance.
When you're saying spinning, I don't know
No.
any of this jargon. What's spinning?
So spinning is you throw your lure
Yeah.
into the water,
Yeah.
and then you're just reeling it straight back
Okay,
in.
okay.
Yeah.
Now
That's
Chad,
funny.
we go back, Gary, if you wouldn't mind putting up that massive cob there.
Yeah. Here we go.
and-
It looks like it's a moose thing.
That's it.
Maybe talk a little bit about the rod
So-
and the reel.
So the people when they see what we catch them on, it is a very, very small rod and reel. This is called a bait caster. The reason you use this is that with a coffee grinder, sometimes you get twist in your line, but you can still use a coffee grinder. So I'm not saying this is the only thing you can use.
Okay.
But look how thin it is.
Yeah.
But it's very, very strong. And this rod here, the biggest we've caught on it is 54.5 kilos.
Jeez.
Yeah, so you catch big fish, and I remember my brother playing a fish the one day. That fish must have been 60, 65 kilos. And a guy hooked his line, and it was all tangled, and we played it for a long time.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
Unbelievable.
I had a choice between biting this line off or biting that line off. And I
Yeah.
bit the wrong line off. I bit my brother's line off. I'll never ever forget that. He
Lendo.
won't either. Lendo, yeah.
Lendo, excuse him.
Sorry about that,
Yeah,
Lando.
yeah. So,
It's unbelievable.
and you know, Mark, Gino, this is what makes fishing fantastic. You have all these memories. You know, just that's a bad memory.
Yeah.
But then then you have those memories that you've made in the Transkei, that you've made in Zululand,
Sure.
that you've made in Mozambique. As a family, you know, I've got so many memories with my wife where we've been fishing at the top of a Transkei river, and she's not the biggest fisherman, but she enjoys it every now and then.
Your wife's name Rosalind?
Rosalind, yeah.
Does she
So yeah, she fishes, but what I do is, listen, you've got to make your wife comfortable. Cooler box on the boat,
Is that the trick?
glass of wine, or a bottle of champagne. She's going to be happy.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Well,
and she'll. I'll never forget it. We're at the top of the river. She says, "I feel like catching a fish."
Yeah.
yeah.
And she took, it's called a strike pro. It's a lure.
Yeah.
Most people won't know what it is, but they
Yeah.
can look it up. It's a good lure. And she threw it and went like this, up, like this, and it went. And as it landed, the kingfish jumped out the water and ate it straight away.
Yeah, I was like,
Well, look.
Yeah, and she's caught like snapper that people will pay money to catch. And she's caught beautiful cob at the game Tues. You know, so
Yeah.
we have good times and it's family times. I think fishing. That's what fishing like sport.
it's social. in
Social.
essence, Yeah.
But
it's social.
Chad, something that's intrigued me on one of your videos or one of the clips I've seen on YouTube, you're standing on the side of the game Tues.
Yes.
Is that on the J-Bay side of game Tues?
It's on the J-Bay, unfortunately. So you need a boat. But so when
So you're going across on a boat?
we're going across on a boat. But I can tell you, when my dad was a much younger man and I was a very young, so how we found out about those big cob. There's two ways. The one, a pilot came and told us about all these cob lying behind the Gamtoos River mountains.
Yes, I've seen that.
Millions
I've seen
of
that.
hundreds of. So that's why we went. And then there was a family called the Swanell brothers that had been catching them.
Yeah, Dennis and Dougie. What
Dennis and
great
Doug
guys.
Swanell,
Hello,
great
Dennis
guys.
and Dougie. I
Yeah.
hope you're watching.
And so then we started trolling for them
Yeah.
all the time. But so we used to walk, from the Gamtoos mouth.
Yeah.
We used to walk from there all the way up to the Kransies.
Yes.
That's a flippin' far walk, and we didn't have a boat.
Yeah.
So you can catch them from the side.
So were you walking up on the P side of the river?
No, on the Jeffreys
On
Basin.
the J-Bay side of the river?
He was-
It's a far walk, yeah.
And these, I see
Okay.
this one here. What is? Just see if we can get the camera on this one, Gary. Check this out. It's got like a.
That's called a leadhead or a
Zoom in a
loodkop.
little bit more, maybe. I don't know if you can. See
No,
if we can
it's
zoom into
good.
this here. This is
It's
it's
a-
got little eyes on it.
Yes.
It's like a whole move here.
Are you guys making these as well?
Now this lure, yeah, it's an interesting story. My dad has been making them since the 70s.
Yeah.
So when all these new guys, and I'll say this on air, when all these new guys say they are the first to make this lure in South Africa,
Yeah.
well, my dad
Yeah.
is 76.
Yeah.
And when you're 30 years old, it'll be very difficult for you to make that lure
Correct.
longer than my dad. Yeah. So it's a great lure, and we're not trying to take this lure has been made in America for 120 years. So it's not a new lure, but it was a new lure to South Africa that was brought in by a guy by the name of Bruce Truter, who my dad was a friend of. And then they started making them to sell. So my dad's been selling them since the 70s. So it's quite
I know Bruce Truter.
a good hunter. He wrote a book.
Yeah.
Also Eastern Cape guys. Yeah.
Correct.
That's
So,
crazy.
Chad, let's just go
And
back
that's,
to...
I tie all of those.
And what do you catch with this then?
Okay, that you can basically catch anything. You can catch lerries, you can catch cob, you can catch skipjack, you can catch elf, you can catch all your kingfish species. It's brilliant to use in the tropics. If you drop it to the bottom, you can catch your punskop, you can catch your santa, you can catch your rock cod's, you name it, you can catch it on a leadhead.
Okay, just going back to one of these paddle tails. Talk about the retrieve of these things.
Okay.
When you're fishing for cod, because that's also important in this
So
situation.
the important thing when you fish in a lure like this, we call it a no-skill lure. So Gino, it'll be good for you.
Okay, nice. I like those kind of ones. I'm the oak that's having the knickknacks in the boat. And the other ones are fishing, you know what I mean?
So what we do is we throw this out as far as we can, but we basically know there's a sort of a drop off over there, or there's structure.
Okay.
And so if there's structure, rock structure, you want this as close to the rock structure as you can. So you only know when you hit it, and then you just increase, but you don't want to hook up. That's why it's like
so
that.
just hang on a sec. I've just got into paddle tail fishing
Yeah.
now. So how do you know when you've hit that structure? Do you?
Well, you
get
feel it.
hooked?
Well, that's why you want to use this, because when you feel it, you're not going to get hooked up.
Okay.
Whereas if it's a normal paddle tail with a hook on it, you get hooked up. Yeah. So you do that, and then you just increase your speed slightly just to get it above the bottom. So it's an excellent lure to use for cod on a slow retrieve. The guys going to Transkei, guys going to Mozambique, this is the lure. Guys fishing in this area, this is the lure.
Yeah.
Funny enough, places like Pollock Beach, all of that. There's cob all along our coast.
Really?
Well, I was going to ask you about the breakball, but just before we go
Our
back to
breakball
that,
you would catch on that as well.
the speed of the retrieve,
It's slow. As slow as you can humanly possibly get to the bottom.
and then you slow down more.
Then you slow down more. Because then you if you touch, don't worry, because you're not going 9 out of 10 times you're not going to get hooked up.
Okay.
And once that cob hits, it's the most fantastic thing. He hits, he
he's
shakes his head, you know,
Yeah.
it's and the bigger he is, the harder it shakes, and then he runs. And that's why I find it addictive to actually fish like that. And I do keep some cob of the like 4 or 5 kilo size to eat, because they're very nice eating.
Sure.
But all my big fish, my brother and I and my dad, we let them go. Throw them back.
So catch and
And Chad, have you ever thrown off Kings Beach close to the Dolosa?
We have,
with the
and we
guys
have caught cob there. We've
Yeah.
caught lerries there, and we've caught elf there.
What on?
On that, but we don't fish much there anymore, because now when we go and fish, we usually go to Tues, or we fish in Transkei.
Yeah.
The Transkei is the spot.
I always wonder about Gamtu, so I always check these boats coming up as you drive over to.
Yeah, there's a lot more people fishing Tues now than there used to be, so it isn't as good as it used to be.
Yeah.
So I probably fish more in the Wild Coast area.
Gary's got another little movie here. Let's have a quick squiz.
The next early morning, and it seems the boys are straight into action again.
You know, we've been trailing for these fish for about the last 20 years, and I tell you, we've caught a lot of these big fish. But every time, the thrill of a big take like this is fantastic. You ask Lando, I mean, every year we just look forward to this big fishing. It's absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, it's foul hooked. I thought it was one of those really big fish. Look, it's still not a small fish. I mean, it's still a good 10, 12 kilos. But we used to catching fish here 25 to 50 kilos.
Okay, I got the gaff here now, and probably within about 2 minutes I'll gaff him in the mouth and then we'll pull him over.
Easy does it, as Chad gently coaxes this decent fish to the side of the boat.
He won't open his mouth because he's not hooked in the mouth.
Ted, you got to help me.
Okay, should I pick him up? No.
Wait for it.
There, now. Well on land. That's actually a nice fish, eh?
It's a nice fish.
Have a look at that big mouth and those big teeth. That's why we're using such big lures for these things. Not only are these fish are very greedy fish, so they want to eat once, and that's why they like a big lure. And also those big lures get down to the bottom. But look at that for a first fish. I mean, that's fantastic. Look at the condition this fish is in. Absolutely beautiful. We're going to get him back in. And we're going to catch this one when he grows to 50 kilos. That's a stunning fish. Look at that. Go away. There, he's in perfect condition. He's going to swim down into the depths now. I'm going to catch him when he gets bigger. Cheers. Last little flick of the tail for us.
All right, we're just talking about these little lures as well. These tiny ones. You say how many kilos?
The biggest fish caught in there is about a 50 kilo carp.
This tiny little thing.
That tiny little thing.
I mean, my nose is bigger than it. But then my nose is bigger than a lot of things. I tell you.
Good run here, mouth.
Well, that one.
And you know, the funny thing about that lure is you can use it basically right around the world and you're going to catch fish on it. And then my dad's best mate, Dr. Van Zyl, Uncle Dirk, fantastic man. Unfortunately, he's also gone to Australia. So sad, but I mean, he's still a great guy and still a good friend to all of us. He's like a second dad to my brother and I growing up. So that man, you should have seen him use a lead head when I say they're all older now.
What's
When
a
he was
lead
young.
head?
This is a lead head.
Oh, is this a lead head?
Yeah, so it's that lure there.
Okay.
He would use it slow, Mark, dead slow on the bottom and catch the fastest fish in the Swartkops, a skipjack.
Wow.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so it doesn't make sense that the fastest fish is eating something the slowest.
But now, Chetty, for the guys who love fishing, and there are many guys on here who love fishing, talk about the retrieve of that thing.
Okay.
Is it, and the rod tip action. And
So what the nice thing about a lead head is, so say you were fishing Mozambique or a tropical place, you would be fishing it a lot faster.
Okay.
So it'd be tweak, really slack. So, but when you're fishing for specific species, like Uncle Dirk and my dad, every Tuesday they went out to fish. Rain or shine, didn't make a difference. Pick my dad up, and they would use it specifically for skipjacks slowly on the bottom. And they would catch us, so it's just the retrieve would be tweak, reel the slack up. Tweak, and you actually feel it. That fish picks it up softly, and then they know it's picked it up and they strike. And that's why the guys that aren't good at a lead head, they don't even know they've had a hit. They do not know, so it's sad. And then, you know, so say you were fishing for Leary, we would increase our retrieve slightly just to make it so it's in a different, so right at the bottom would be your cob and sometimes your skipjack. But say the fish was feeding in the first meter, you'd have to do a faster retrieve. And that's why the lead head's so great, because you can use it on the boat, use a big one like Gino had just now, and you'd use it at 30 meters or 40 meters on the bottom, or you could use it right near the surface.
And colour?
So colour, if you take, that's why I bought a couple of different colours.
Yeah.
So
colour must play a role.
it does. So bright, and then sort of there's your white and olive, so it's slightly darker. So if you've got very clear water and high visibility water, or a very sunshiny,
so if
then
the
you
sun's
use
there,
a
it'll be
bright
one,
look.
okay.
If you've got water that's slightly dirtier or overcast like today, then you use a darker look. It's a simple thing. It doesn't always work, but it works 90% of the time.
Okay. Wow.
So it's
Because those fish, though, you say when they look up and they can't actually, they can't see if it's too bright.
yes.
I would imagine,
So remember I was talking to you guys about a grunter, which up until my dad was catching them, it must have been 30, 35 years ago when they started catching them on the surface.
Yes.
So a grunter, if I can enlighten the people, is a fish that feeds on the bottom, and he blows a prawn out of the prawn hole. So he's tailing like this. So he's right on the bottom.
So he's basically standing
on his head.
head to toe.
Yeah, that's it. And he's
blowing that jet of water through
jet
the
of water
hole.
to push the prawn out. Then he either eats the prawn, and he doesn't always get it because sometimes 2 or 3 prawns come out. So they eat the one, and then what it does is the prawn will come to the surface. It's quite clever, and it'll stay on the surface.
Yeah, I was just saying that the prawn, also trying to get away now. So it's like,
prawn.
okay, we know the grunt is like,
It's gonna eat
he's
it.
at the bottom, so we keep very still.
But you know what's amazing here? So they actually, are you saying that they see the prawn holes? Or
Oh yes. They can see the prawn holes, and the prawn holes like they're all over the place, whether
I've
it's
seen
sand
it, I'm
prawn
sure.
or mud prawn. And then they go and put their mouth over that, and they exactly what you said. They spray the jet of water into the hole, and then comes out the other way. And then they go. So how my dad and how he found it. So these grunter, the prawn comes to the surface. If he's clever, he just keeps still. And he just drifts away with the tide or the wind.
Yeah.
But occasionally, as all of us, if we're scared, we run. Or you click your tail, as in the thing with a prawn. Then it makes this clicking. It just goes. It's a soft noise, and that's why you get this lure we call it a grunt hunter. And it's got a rattle in it.
And you make them.
Well, we import them, yes.
Okay.
So you take it, lure, and you shake it, and it's got a rattle in it.
Okay.
Now, when it's on the water, you tweak your tip
Yeah.
of the rod,
Makes it click.
and it makes it click. And the grunter looks up and he goes, "Yo, here's a nice easy meal."
Prawn.
Yeah.
And he eats it off the surface.
Yes.
So it's only the size of the lure, yet it's a
Yeah.
piece of plastic.
Meanwhile, it's a lure.
Yeah.
Not
I'm
a
just
prawn.
fascinated with this whole flipping
incredible.
social thing is happening. This whole.
Well, listen, our producer here would love to go and catch a big grunter. So,
We're
Gary,
gonna
we've
try
got to
it out.
line you up here.
We're going to try that out sometime. But I think, and then this here looks like something you put in the sea.
It is a sea lure, but then what we did is we used it in the river for those big cod.
Oh wow!
So we changed, well, not we, I should say my dad. I mustn't take when he
Yeah.
showed us, my dad showed us everything. We're very fortunate.
When did your dad first start catching common lures in the river?
Yo, Mike. So when he was in Port Alfred, when his dad, they were staying in Port Alfred,
Yeah.
he started fishing there. So that must have been, 50 years ago.
Sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's long. Remember, he was a hottie fisherman. I keep
Yes.
on. That's one of the nicest.
That's how I remember it.
Yeah, but if you take bronze bream, it's if you're a young angler, it's the fish to fish for, because and I know we're going off the topic of lure fishing, but it's the fish to fish for because it teaches you. So it will bite like this, and then it'll pull you down. And you
Correct.
strike.
Yes.
Then it'll bite, and then it'll bring you in,
Bring you in.
and you reel your slack, and you wait for the weight, and you strike,
Yes.
and you fuss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the next minute, there's no bite. It's just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he bites like a flatty.
Yeah.
And if you know what you're doing, you strike and you've suddenly got a nice fish on there. So goes back to the exact same thing. It's experience
Yeah.
Yeah.
that shows
Correct.
you all of these
Absolutely.
things. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What they do.
But let's go back to this now. I remember when we interviewed you in 2001.
That's not a long time ago, though.
No, not at all. It's like yesterday.
Like 21 years ago.
Last week. But you spoke about your experiences at Flat Rocks. And I mean, I can remember standing there and I told you earlier, Kerry Howell's uncle, Gordon Howells, did the interview.
Yeah.
Put the camera off when the interview was finished and he said, this is one of the most impressive interviews I've ever done.
Yeah.
And you spoke about your experiences at Flat Rocks in the summer months especially.
With the skipjacks, the elf,
Yes.
the Larrys.
Okay. Wow.
And the odd little sharks swimming past.
Well, I was just going to get to
We're going
that.
to get onto the sharks.
Now, my brother is, how should I say it? My twin brother was
Yeah.
fearless when it comes to that. He won't mind me saying this.
Yeah.
He actually got divorced because he fished so much. So, I mean,
Orlando!
he would fish from like 6 o'clock in the afternoon till 12 o'clock at night in water this deep where there are sharks everywhere.
Yes, like.
So, and then he would go and have a couple of beers at the pub afterwards.
Yeah, no, would.
Yeah, so he was hardcore. But anyway, so now this year, do you know, if you know the amount of sharks that are swimming in our waters, you will
We're going to come to that.
absolutely, you will not believe it.
You.
And every time we're at Cape Recife or the area where we're wading, we now getting the raggies coming up to us and they're big fish. They can be 50 kilos, but they can be right up to 250, 300 kilos.
Yeah.
And I don't know many
Those
people.
teeth.
Oh, they're terrible teeth. That when the raggy is, we're talking a foot from you.
Yeah.
So it's got worse and worse. And then the Zambesis, unfortunately, that's a dangerous shark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had 7 Zambesis the other day eating Larrys in front of us.
Where?
Cape Recife.
Oh my.
Yeah.
soul.
So
Okay.
we also got a
Were
deep.
you on a boat?
No. We were in the water. It wasn't fun.
Oh, sure. You
It's
sort
not
of
fun.
Start wading out.
Yeah,
You
you
gotta be
sort
slow.
of like backpedal.
Sure.
Because you must be slow. Because one thing about a Zambezi is if you move fast, he might attack you.
Have you told Rosalind about this?
Yeah,
This
yeah, no,
shark?
no, no.
She knows about that stuff, eh?
Yeah.
No.
So
Well, I can see she says
said,
that when we're going to the best
going
spot
to
in
the
the
best spot in
Strand.
the Transkei.
What is the best
what's
spot,
that?
Rosalind?
Well, I must be honest. We go to we've got some friends that run a hotel in the Transkei. It's called Wavecrest. So we go there a hell of a lot.
Yeah, lovely.
And so
Lovely
we,
place.
we,
Honeymoon then.
we actually did go on
Lovely
honeymoon there.
Here we go.
You bastard!
So Roz and I love it, and you know, you don't just love the hotel. You love everything about what you get into. I take a braai up, and we go up the river, or we go up
Sure.
the. I'm still fit.
You got two
So,
rivers there,
yeah, the two
beautiful,
rivers, yeah.
Beautiful.
And I walk up the coast, and we take a couple of beers and glass of wine or champagne, and so we have a lovely time.
Yeah.
So no, that Transcape.
Wave crest, she says there. Wave
Yeah.
crest. Yes, thanks, Roz.
But to go, hello Roz, but to go back to these sharks, and we're going to talk about the sharks.
Yeah.
But wading out, I'm surprised. I mean, I've been wading since 1984.
Yeah.
As Chad knows, you wade out for the cracker. Now the guys aren't even wading. I believe they're going from knee-deep water.
Oh, really?
But we used to wade out 50 meters then.
Jeez, like,
And I've never seen a fin behind me. I've seen one or two in front of me.
yeah.
But
It seems that contrary to what the scientists and everyone say, I'm saying that tongue in cheek, that everything's getting worse.
Correct.
It seems like everything's getting better.
well, as you said, the worse
The worse it is,
the more they get paid.
the more you get paid. So
Right.
if you go on a boat, so if you use Big Allen charters, and you really, so obviously he's there to get you to catch fish. But if you wanted him to take you along the back line to go out to Kucha, you will see a great white shark.
I'm sure.
There's plenty.
No, absolutely.
And there are
Tell us a few stories about them.
So we've got a 18-foot boat, which is not a big boat in boating terms, but it's a fair-sized boat.
Yeah.
And then we used to do quite a bit of filming in the corner of Kucha.
Okay.
And we'd do fishing around this. Excellent. And we were sitting there, my brother, myself, and Daryl, and we were sitting there, and a great white, so 18 foot is 6 meters, came underneath us. They scratched their stomach on the sand every now and then.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, because that's what it looked like it was doing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and it came underneath, the pecs were like this,
Yeah.
and that shark was a good meter longer than my boat.
Yo.
So that's the biggest one we've seen.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're big ones in the world, but in general, they're about between 100 kilos and 350 kilos. That fish there, that's tons.
Yeah. That's huge.
And have you ever seen them when you're wading out or fishing?
Never. I've never seen a great white when I'm wading out or anything like that. We see raggies, we see gully sharks, and we see Zambesis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to me, the Zambezi is worse than the great white. I mean,
No,
that
it's
comes
the
up a
worst.
lot far.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Hectic.
Yeah.
And just going back to, we were talking earlier about cobbing the gantus. You never get any heads come.
It's so what we did. So our cameraman was Dean McDonald, which you
Yes,
know
Dean,
quite
I know Dean well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
Dean,
excellent. He's a
Lovely guy.
great
Especially in
guy.
the fishing.
Yeah.
He loves fishing.
He
That's
does,
why he
yeah.
asked us to do the movies with him
Yes,
because
yes. Oh, was that Dean that did those as well?
Dean did those. Yeah,
Right,
so
fantastic. Great cameraman.
He's a great cameraman. He's,
Good lad.
Yeah, he's a good lad. And so on a couple of occasions, he's obviously busy, and so we were fishing. And so we got 3 cob and 3 trolls. Now I don't know what to do with them now because we need to film these fish.
Yeah.
So I said to my put, yes. So we tied up the 3 at the Crancies. So we tied 1, so that they're not going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And so we're waiting for Dean. And then this like thunderstorm came over. And you can't film because Dean didn't have a waterproof camera then.
Okay.
Anyway, to cut a long story short, so we had the property there, so we were staying there. So we said to him, no, we'll just go back in the afternoon, the fish will be fine. We went back in the afternoon, all 3 were bitten off behind the head.
Now, what would that have been?
That can only be either a raggy, but probably not, probably a Zambezi.
Wow.
In the gantus.
Yeah, well, if you go where we go in the Transkei, we see these, so the little pecanine, I call them pecanines or little black kids. They swim at the top of the rivers, flat out. You won't believe it, guys. It's full of Zambesis, and they do not like
Well,
them.
I know the Transkei is.
Well, Port St. John's is full.
Yeah.
When have you heard of a...
You spoke about it
Oh,
earlier.
so the most it takes
what's
out.
about?
Well, you see, your tax, so the tax at Port St. John's, that is to the right of Third Beach. Okay, you got first, second, and Third Beach.
Yeah.
So what actually happened is you had an abattoir that was...
A meat abattoir.
Meat abattoir. So your blood and your offal was going into that particular area. That's when those attacks are not natural.
Yeah.
So that's because you got food in the area. And I mean, some of those attacks were horrific. That German tourist, I mean,
correct.
he was bitten and eaten in front of people
Oh,
Yeah.
in this much water.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Terrible.
1 meter of water, yeah.
Terrible.
So the attacks are not in the rivers, touch wood.
Yeah.
It's mainly in the sea.
I just see a couple of comments here. I see Auntie Bocky. Is that Auntie?
Gillian Ewing, yes.
Yeah.
Gerald's wife.
There we go, Auntie Jill. How's it, Auntie Jill? And
This is your dad's sister.
Bert
Dad's
and I,
sister,
the girl
yes,
that did the
yes.
rugby story and all the fishing there as well. Gino, what an interesting show. Thanks, Stuart. Good to hear from you all the way from the States there, Stuart. And whose voice was in the videos? That's Darren Mann.
He
That
did a
was
good
Darren
job.
Mann doing a good job there. Thanks, Wendy. Yeah, I mean, I actually haven't heard from Darren. I don't know what he was doing, working with the Herald, I think, for a bit as well. He's doing something there. But,
So I wanted to ask you quickly. So it's only the Gamtoes for you, not the Sundays River?
No. Sundays is brilliant.
Is it?
So here's the thing. I fish the Gamtoes because we own on the Gamtoes.
Yeah.
So we love it there. We got a couple of problems there in the park, but we'll sort that out.
all right.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Yeah, I won't get into
Oh,
that,
okay,
but
okay,
we've got some
okay.
problem which
I'll
we're
go.
busy sorting out.
Yeah.
So Sundays River is absolutely, and I'll give you a good thing, a family story of the Sundays. So we were catching all these carp in the Gamtoes, and we weren't telling anyone. We fished for 3 months. This is like 25 years ago, without telling a person. We're getting 5, 6, 30, 40 kilo carp every day. Yeah. My dad, he can't lie to anyone, and you do know Slobby Breski.
Yeah. I've seen
Slobby.
the photographs.
So
Right, yeah.
yeah, but this is funny. So
Slobby
before the
very well.
Slobby Breski, so my dad says to us, why don't we go and try Sundays River? So my mom wants to go, my sister, my brother.
Roslyn?
No, that was many years ago.
No,
I was
okay.
17 years old, 16 years old.
Yeah.
So my mom packs a brush. She says, no, so we go onto the river. On the right-hand side, you've got the beautiful sand dunes. My mom goes there. She starts a bra. But the boys fish now. My sister's with the
Lovely.
first troll.
Yeah.
My brother gets a 60-pound fish. It was in pounds in those days,
Okay,
not
right,
even
yeah,
in
yeah,
kilos.
yeah.
So we get that next troll, he gets an 80-pound fish. So it's bigger. Next troll, I get like a 40-pound fish. Next troll, my brother hooks into a monster. A guy that's skiing comes up and he says, what are you guys doing? Because now my brother's onto this big fish. And it actually gets, Lando's bad luck, gets cut off underneath the boat. And my dad, you know him, he's so soft. When I mean soft,
relaxed.
he's
Chilled.
he's chilled, he doesn't
Chilled.
want to fight.
Yeah.
So the skier, you mean, cut it.
Yeah. So he says, guys, let's just go back to your mom. So we have the bra, but now we found the Sundays River. It's brilliant, better than the Gamtoes.
What?
In cop. Big.
Of late.
Well, of late, it's still good, but this was 25 years ago.
Yeah,
when everyone thought there was only fish in the Gamtoes. Because if you don't know, how will you find out? You're not going to follow the Sunday. So, lo and behold, so on the next day, we had the shop. And Slobby Breski was watching it. And he says to my dad, did you guys catch any carp? Have you ever heard my dad laugh? Never. Never. Son told him, you son told him. And my poor dad, I'm sure she probably knew the life, because Slobby knew the truth anyway. So my dad says, no, we got them at So we go the next day, because that was our modus operandi. Each day we go the next day, and I land and I'll say, you want to believe it? We trolled for like a half an hour. My dad looks at us. Yes, Slobby Breski. I said, no ways. But anyway, my dad's my dad.
Yeah.
So we go.
Great, man.
Like after an hour, he's still trolling. Come back. Slobby had watched us catch us fish the day before. But you'll ask
He's dead
Slobby.
long.
Yeah, we came back.
Yeah.
First troll we went first. He didn't get one. But he's a great fisherman. He's a very good
Oh,
fisherman.
yeah, that's
Fantastic.
But that's what makes fishing great. I mean,
Yes.
it's,
No,
so many
listen,
stories.
Is there any chance of you,
Ian Mitchell saying, Fires, tell them about my galjoen.
the galjoen, I told him was a cuck-eating fish.
I agree with you.
It was a
Monster.
Yeah.
it was a big galjoen. Yeah? Caught at Schoonies.
Ross Coonies.
And a flipping water skied across the top of the surface there. He pulled it, he used my assassin, if I'm not mistaken.
Gee, with.
Quite a strong rod.
Yeah.
Across the top, and I said, there's a cut fish. Cut to eat.
Oh, no.
It was a nice galjoen as well.
Oh,
Blended.
nice.
Had a lovely chow that evening.
Lovely.
Told them,
I told them it was rubbish.
But
man.
more importantly, can we organize a fishing trip with you?
We'll sort
For us. For him to get a 5 kilo grunter,
Yes, sir.
number one.
Chad, you forget about my big fish in Mozambique. Last day of the trip, beat yours. Says
Yeah,
Chad.
that's my sister.
Oh, right.
So that was a
No,
great
don't
trip.
forget about your sister.
No. And it was a snapper, which is our favorite, one of our favorite fishes. And then she got a big kingfish as well. I think the kingy was about, I don't know, it was in the river at Pulmen. We used to go to Pulmen Lodge a hell of a lot. That was about a 5 kilo fish. But my poor sister, that trip, obviously there was a couple of beers involved. And so it was out of season, and the only people at the lodge was our group of mad people.
Yeah.
And we had a lovely day fishing, drinking, and having like a real, like you should do as South Africans.
Yeah.
And then I was sponsored by Isuzu. So I said, let's go and test this.
Trevor Villette.
Trevor Villette, yeah. So I said, let's go and test this Isuzu. You know, we're going to go down to South Point, okay? So now my sister was the only girl on the trip, and there was Brandon, Lando, my twin brother, myself, and Michael. Yes, and I get everyone into the car, and we go, gone. But now, my sister's not in the car.
All right. I let you be out.
She hid under the bed. And we went for like 4.5 hours playing around in the sand.
Yeah. She was fishing.
Did you ever fish at Bazaruta?
Yes.
Off that South Point then?
Yeah, South Point. So Mozambique, we did. So we, as soon as inauguralization or whatever you call it happened in 94.
Yeah.
94.
Yeah.
We went straight to Pulmeni with my dad and Uncle Dirk. We did a great trip there. And then after that, we went a couple of years, and then we started really going to, and then we did Bazaruta, Nyaka, the archipelago.
Yes.
But most of our trips went to Pulmeni, which is a little bit south of the island.
Yes, I know.
And we got beautiful big kingfish. It's lovely holiday.
What's the biggest you got there? Those kingies.
Kingies, our biggest we got there was probably about 40 kilos. And funny enough, my best mate, the bugger, he's going to Pulmeni this year without us, because Christmas is our best business time.
Yeah.
So I hope he has a fantastic trip. I'm jealous, but so hopefully Matt has a great trip. And we did plenty of trips. He had great memories, breaking trailers, breaking cars, but that's what goes with your fishing trips.
It's a vibe.
Yeah.
So just before we finish off now, let's go to your shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you offer?
Newton Park still.
We're in Newton Park still.
Yes, so next to the Spur, eh?
Silver Cloud Spur. We're right next
There's
door.
it. Next to Keith and Carol.
Yeah, that's right.
For every Louis you buy, you get a burger.
There's it.
Listen, I'll tell you what. Hold the story, or you talk quickly.
Yeah.
Remember the last time, or the first time I came, I'm going to have a piss.
Okay, go. No, it's okay.
No, he's joking.
We can
And get some more beers.
So tell me when you start the shop. It's been going for a long time.
It's been going for 31 years. We started in Russell. Actually, we started in the Brews building, which was great.
Okay, wow.
We still got friends from those days with the Brews guys. They were fantastic. They supported us very, very well. Then we went to Russell Road, and we've probably been at our shop now for about 22 years.
Russell Road as well.
Yeah, so it's a long time for a small
Next to
business.
Hamburger Hut.
That's
And they say follow the hamburgers.
The hamburger hut. So we're a small family-owned business.
Okay.
It's our passion.
Yeah.
So we've loved doing what we do over the last 31 years. Yeah. What we offer is a more sort of like, we really know what we're talking about when it comes to fishing. We're not the biggest shop. There's much bigger shops.
Yeah.
I'd love them to, all those guys that think they know a lot, I'd love them to like say, okay, well listen, we fished, tell us how to catch a fish.
Yeah.
So you come to us and you say to us, listen, I want to go to Palompo Point.
Yeah.
We've been there, we fished there, we know what to use.
Yeah.
You want to go to Bazaruta, we've been there, we fished there. You want to go somewhere in New Zealand? I fish plenty in New Zealand, Australia. Okay. So we have experience.
It's perfect. But what I love about it is, I mean, Chad, you said you love PE, you love the country, and clearly it's all part of this thing where it's interpersonal relationships with people that are here, and it's that one-on-one connection, and there are not many of those places left.
No, I think no one could. I think you hit the nail on the head. You said it very, very well. And you know what we do see is that my dad's obviously in his later years, but his guys that did business with him for the last like 45 years, they all still come to the shop.
Yeah.
You know, and then the guys that are my age, they still come to the shop. And I'd like to say to the younger guy, he's getting, in my opinion, misled by social media and the phone. That go for your best deal, go for your cheapest deal.
No.
That's not the deal. Come to the guys that really know what they're doing. And when you're in that, I get so many guys phoning me. They at Fabbri. They say, "Listen, Chad," and I say to them, "Listen, why didn't you come into the shop? I would have told you what to use. I would have told you what to buy, where to fish. Isn't that more valuable than the cheapest price?"
Of course it is.
And when it comes to that, you can only get that from Alcock's. Okay. And when it comes to that, you can get that anywhere. But say we are 40 rand and the other guy's 35 rand. That's 5 rand. But what will 5 rand's information cost you to fish a spot?
Sure. Well, it's like these. I mean, I've just I was changing fries now. I've started cycling, and it's the same with the cycling shops or with any music shops.
Yes.
You know, you don't go to the sort of the macro of fishing shops. You know, because the oak there is gonna. You're going to get some student coming in and he doesn't know what's going on.
It's a great point. You go to the guy who catches the fish.
Specialist, you know, he's a specialist.
And
there's a Sheena saying we once went into the shop to buy my son a rod and left 2 days later.
Quite correct. I mean, listen, my son, I don't think you know him, but he spends a shitload of time in your shop with my money.
Of course.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But it's the clients that come in as well, and you come and you look at the new stuff.
And you know what, you actually get friends, and that's what I'm trying to. I've got a passion for Port Elizabeth, for South Africa. I might be outspoken sometimes with certain things, and I'm not going to keep quiet ever. But that's what I'm trying to get back into the sort of fishing. My brother and I have a passion. My dad is older now, so he's not there as much but he has a huge passion. He'll help anyone. So that younger guy, he must rather come in and chat and say, "Listen, I want to catch a grunter. Can you help me catch a grunter?" We'll help him catch that grunter, but then he must reciprocate by spending some money in the shop.
Of course.
So
Gary wants to catch a grunter. You better come and have a chat.
Anything more on the fishing side from you, other than you've spoken about these great achievements, but
what we always ask at the end of the show is like your worst experience or your
there you go thank you,
like the
always happy to have you here.
You got nothing.
You know what, I think
things went wrong.
Things get wrong. Things can go as badly wrong as they had in my fishing. I remember my wife and I. So my best mate Matt. He's a very impetuous person. If you meet him, Matt Lotter. He's a great guy. Absolutely great. You probably wouldn't be able to get a word on the show.
Right.
No, he's a fantastic guy.
Tag Matt.
So Matt says to me, we're going to Mozambique. Okay. It's on my wife's birthday.
Okay. Oh dear, that's
I was already
a mistake there.
But especially when you forget it's her birthday.
Your brother lost his wife over that sort of stuff.
So now we get to a place called Rios dos Petros. So it's a nice, just so we can build up the scene. So we've traveled the whole day. Now, when you get to Rios dos Petros, you've got to travel about 30 k's of it's just sand road, very slow, but 4x4, and it's lovely. So to have a beer or two is perfect. So now it's 4 volleys, 4 vehicles, but there's 8 people, and then there's my wife. So my wife, Matt says, because I'm going to drive the 2x4 because it's the hardest one, and I've got experience driving it. So I said, so Clarissa stayed with me. She's from Mr. Price, so he does work for Mr. Price. So we've got the Mr. Price guys with us.
Yes.
And it's so we get there, and I say to him, "Listen, guys, this is how it works. This road now at night." I said, "We got to concentrate. It's flipping difficult to get to. It's not there anymore. So I said to him, "Listen, so when we get there, so we all get out the car, and we're going to have like a meeting and say, okay, you follow me, because I'm the one that's...
you got the 2x4 as well, so it should be easy.
So it was like we just all, like the 4 vehicles, and I look at it, was like Mad Max. And I see the Oaks taking because we went with guys with 4-wheelers, and you know what a Rhino is? The Rhino is also a 4-wheel drive, small vehicle.
Like a
so I said,
Sandmaster.
"What are you actually doing?" "No, we're going to have a jaunt now." I said to the boys, "Listen, This is not going to be a jaw. I said, it's 7 o'clock at night. I said, 8 o'clock's dark. We're not going to find the road.
Yeah.
I swear to you, the one that goes that way. I just stopped and I said, this is going to be the biggest mess ever. My mate picks up 2 locals. He says, no, he knows exactly where this lodge is. I'm on the road, so I'm the only one that's on. So I find them eventually, the 3 bodies. Now they're not as happy as they were because now it's 11 o'clock at night from 6, and we're riding around in circles. And these guys, and I told them when they picked up the guys, they're going to take you to their village because they want to lift.
Yeah. Oh, of course, yeah.
So we get there. So my mate, he says to me, he bought a brand new 4x4. It's beautiful Toyota. Got the big boat in the back. It's loaded to the heel. He says, you can drive this one now. So my wife gets out of the Colt, the 2x4, and Matt drives it. And I knew that. Why would he give me the trailer spring had broken.
Oh.
So the sand was like flying over the back of the boat. And I saw this little hill coming up. And I knew I wasn't going to make it to the top with my wife. We're stuck at 12 o'clock at night now.
Oh.
Yeah. To cut a long story short, we eventually made the lodge.
Yes, like.
And then we woke up to this beautiful view. I mean, we asked my wife about it. And it was my wife's birthday and I forgot to wish her a happy birthday.
Oh, doesn't.
But I gave her a bottle of champagne after that.
Because it always works, eh?
Sorry, sweetie. It's never happened again.
The experience is never to be forgotten. But he knows it's wine or champagne, apparently, Rosalind. That's all you need. My wife would agree.
Just digressing and going back to rugby. This Bob tour of the Northern Hemisphere.
Now.
Yeah, the one lost to Ireland.
Well,
lost to France.
if you take it that I did a lot of tours on I did only one tour with the Springboks, but plenty of tours with Cats, plenty of tours. Yeah. In general, when you lose those games like that, is there not something? I'm not saying there is. Is there not something wrong in the camp?
You can say and you're not going to get your contract.
So I'm just giving people to think. So I'm not putting words in their mouth. In my opinion, Nimbardo and Erasmus should stick to rugby.
Correct.
That they are paid incredible amount of money. It doesn't have to make any more money doing a movie. It's just my opinion.
100%.
He is paid to coach the Springboks and be director of rugby. And he's a nice guy. But I think what they should do is make sure when there's a CEO of a company, his job is to do this.
Correct.
Why is he allowed to digress to do something else?
I can never
to make money. I'm guessing. Maybe he's doing it for free.
I cannot work this out. To me, it's almost as if he's in charge.
And remember something, he has done well.
Correct.
So he doesn't have to prove anything. But now you lose these games. Suddenly your reputation. So that's just, if I was Rassie, I would step back and just coach rugby and sort out everything.
You know what? The game, he's not bigger than the game. And
no one's bigger than the game.
Correct. Now, prediction Saturday, England?
Well, it was easy to predict Italy.
Oh, damn you!
I called it like 40. I knew it.
You say that.
Australia, we beat Australia.
You say that. At halftime, it was 18-13.
Yeah, but I mean,
they've beaten Australia.
They didn't have Etzebeth on the field. We had our best players sitting on the bench.
We were trying to eat the pasta halftime and take it away.
I just wonder though if.
Okay. So all you've got to do is the same as when England played the All Blacks in the semi-finals of the World Cup. One of the hardest matches ever in a World Cup semi-final.
Gotta be.
They beat the All Blacks.
Yes.
But physically and mentally and their body, they were broken. My brother and we both said we will win the World Cup final because our game was not hard. We both said they will win the World Cup, the Springboks.
Yeah.
So it's
They're less bashed.
Less bashed.
So,
Correct.
so are you actually saying that England, after having come back from what 25-6 down,
They're in the
are bashed?
same. They're in the same situation.
Correct.
Okay.
South Africa, how hard, and Italy has done brilliant. They beat Australia lately.
yeah,
But
yes.
how hard has South Africa played compared to England?
Yeah.
Correct.
And they did put
So
the
easy.
big guns like Etzebeth and those guys were on the bench.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
There we go.
if I'm guessing, if you take it on history, South Africa should win that game. But also, Eddie Jones is a good coach.
Yeah, you also.
So you got
Well,
he's
some
a
weekends.
good coach that keeps quiet, and then we've got a good coach that says a lot.
Yeah, guys, it's been a marathon straight, but so over 2 hours, fantastic chat.
Are we going for half time now?
Fires, thank you. And we
Always good to see you,
We're
my
gonna
man.
do the competition, Gary. We got the competition as well. While we're saying goodbye, we're gonna do the compo to win the Fitch and Leeds. You see, whoever's online at the moment, you have a chance to win some Fitch and Leeds. A case of Fitch and Leeds, we'll send it to you. Lindsay,
Lindsay! She doesn't like a glass of wine.
nice. You got some tonics.
She's my one colleague.
There we go. We're
Yeah.
coming. The tonics coming your way. We got some tonics coming your way. Wendy will get
can
hold of
take
you.
it
Chad, it's been
Same as the
Yeah,
credit
thanks,
card.
thanks for inviting me. Yeah?
firing on
Appreciate
all cylinders. It's been
Thanks.
fantastic.
Love you, Dad.
Yeah, I will.
Magic. Guys, we'll see you on Thursday. It's Dean Allen's on Thursday, and next week, Tuesday, we've got Wayne Pfeiffer for the cycling.
Oh, wow. Good.
That's right. Thank you to Spa. Thank you to Homovia for our internet. And Fitch and Leeds and Sovereign for supporting us on the live side. Thank you. Cheers. We'll see you on Thursday.
Thank you to you.
Relax, sit down. Coming out of PE town. Want a drink, find a shot. Never mind your liver, get to Gino's spot.
Gino Spot!
Get to Gino's spot.
Gino Spot!
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle. Have a Gino shot.